All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to
Yeah.
the Tuesday night live stream. Same show, different channel. Sam will be joining us in a sec, and Glenn's busy watching hockey. So, what are you gonna do?
It's good. It's good. You got to support the Leafs.
I guess.
I mean,
I'm a Habs
they
fan,
do
so
have. Don't they have like the largest drought in North America sports now? Is that
Yeah.
kind of their deal? That's what I thought.
Yep.
It's going to continue. My feeling on that is it's going to continue for a while.
Don't let Glenn hear you say that.
Well, unfortunately, I think for Toronto, the business model for hockey is kind of flawed. They don't need to put a good team on the ice to pack that stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true. They need some close competition. They need another team in the area.
yep, that's why there's not a team in Hamilton.
Yeah, that's true.
Which could support one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even between the two cities, you could put a team and it would be fine. Yeah, anywhere
Sure.
really.
Absolutely.
North of the city, any place would work.
Yep.
So
How's your Cardinals off to their
Straight trash. I
Oh,
knew this was
no.
going to happen. No, the Cardinals. They have some bats, but they don't have the arms, right? And they didn't have that. Like the last game I went to was the last game of the season where we got beat by the Phillies in the playoffs, and it was Albert and Molina's last game, and it's the kind of reason we win. I was like, I have a feeling they're just. I mean, their best pitcher is a number 2 at best. It's probably a 3 on a good team, Mikolas. So
Right.
you can't win the playoffs. I mean, the Phillies just threw arguably probably the 2 strongest pitchers at us, and I mean they smoked us. But then an off season comes, and of course, there's no addition. I mean, we got Contreras from the Cubs, which is nice, I guess, and then the Walker kid came up, but I mean, where's the arms? Where's the starting pitching? And that's how you win the playoff games.
Yes. Well, we got some people watching. Jack and Matt and David. Thanks everybody.
David's got a wonderful comment. It's a beautiful.
I love that, eh?
Beautiful comment.
He loved my my podcast contribution. I'm in awe of his contributions, though. He's got the voice.
He's smooth, yeah. He's smooth.
Smooth.
Smooth operator. He's like Sade, smooth operator.
Yeah.
is that Jack Vinyl Martini Jack? Is that who's watching?
No, Jack the music guy.
Jack the music
is,
guy. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Jack is a young kid. I want
Oh
to
yeah,
say
I've
he's
seen.
probably like 16, maybe.
Yeah.
And he gives, although he makes me feel old on a weekly basis, calling stuff from the 80s oldies. Jack gives me hope for the youth, that there's some youth out there actually listening to good music. So
Yeah, I have seen his channel. I just didn't realize that's who it was. Yeah.
yeah, he's been a regular viewer. Hey, Trevor. We're waiting for Sam. He's always a couple minutes late because he has
hair
to
and makeup. I mean, he's got probably the best hair of any of us.
I mean, he says he's watching Final Jeopardy, and then he's got to get stuff ready. So
hair and makeup, man.
hair and makeup. Sam's got the hair, but he cut most of his hair off, so I don't know.
Hey, he's still got a mean set of hair, man. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So what's the topic du jour, Rob? What is Glenn drilled into?
Oh, here comes Sam.
Focus. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
We're just talking about Jeopardy being your cover for taking time in hair and makeup to get ready.
It's not a cover. No, I've got to get it right. I got it right tonight too. So
there you go.
All right.
Right amount of blush, right amount of concealer. I like it. Nice job.
indeed, yeah, you don't want the nose to shine too much.
Very good. Well, now that everyone's here, thanks for joining those that are watching. Thanks for watching it over on Northern Revolutions rather than Glenn's basement, because Glenn is busy supporting his local hockey team, which will die in vain in the playoffs in a matter of a few days. But Sam and I wanted to soldier on anyway, and we've invited a couple guests this week. Brian from Embryonic Robot and everyone's concert buddy. And we're going to we had been doing our favorite songs from decades past the last few weeks, but Sam and I thought we'd switch it up a little bit different. We're going to talk about our favorite albums from 2010 till now. So the last 13 years. We're just going to, sort of one album per artist. Doesn't matter what particular year. And that's the topic for tonight. So, shall we get started, guys? You want to jump in?
Fired up.
We did say 13 records.
We
right?
did.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That's what I pulled. So,
Yeah.
Chance, Brian, which one of you guys wants to go first since you're the guests?
Age before beauty, Brian. Go ahead.
That's a big assumption there, Chance.
That's true. I'm probably older than anybody. Right?
Yeah, so I will say that I whipped this up quickly because Rob talked to me. Was it yesterday?
I think so. Yeah.
So I didn't have a ton of time to put this together. But I think I made reasonable choices. If I had more time, maybe it would be different. But here we go. I'll just get number 13. I chose "Western Stars" by Springsteen, which. Do people? I don't know. Do people know this? Like, I was surprised by this record because it's a bit countryish. Maybe harkens back to '60s country with the Glen Campbell thing. Mm-hmm. So, I'm a Springsteen fan. This one I think was divisive among fans. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But I actually think it works really well. I mean, he actually sings "Rhinestone Cowboy" in the movie version of this. So I think, even the look of him is, cowboy look. So I actually think this is it's better than I thought it would be, and I like it better than his new covers version of the old standards. So that's something anyway. So yeah, anyway, I think it's pretty good.
It's that's interesting, Brian, because first of all, I love that record. It's probably potentially my favorite Springsteen album. And it's funny you mentioned the Only the Strong Survive, because I hadn't listened to it probably since October or so, and I actually took it in my car today on the way to work, so I'm halfway through it again. But I love that record too, but the one in between, the Letter to You, was never big for me, but the E Street Band. But that's a great pick.
But yeah, okay.
Chance.
All right, so again, no particular order. I want to make sure I got the ground rules. So I think we'll just start. And I know Mazzy's big on taking the plastic off because, he wants to raw dog this stuff. So I'm going to do it just for Mazzy in case he's watching. So first one I've got is, I don't know if you guys like Amos Lee, but this is album Mountains of Sorrow, Rivers of Song. An amazing, I love Amos Lee, and I love his songwriting. I love his music, even from the jump, of his solo, his first solo record. I want to say it was 2005. It was self-titled on Blue Note, but this one is terrific. Every single song is amazing. I don't know if you can see those, but it's just kind of like folky singer-songwriter type stuff. Mountains of Sorrow is a really strong song. Let me see if I can go. See, I'm trying to be fancy. Mountains of Sorrow. Loretta was actually a song written about his grandmother, which was really good. Dresser Drawer is a breakup song that it'll just, Sam, it may put your Jericho song to shame. It is a very powerful song. Anyway, I love Amos, and this record actually, they don't repress a lot of his stuff, but I mean, this record I picked not to tell flipper business, but I found another copy of this at the Chicago Record Show for $20, and I just sold it a month ago for $100. So
wow,
just goes right back into the collection, boys.
There you go.
Right.
Good choice. Sam, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't do one for a year. I did do sort of a ranking ish. So mine will be based on 13 down to 1, but it doesn't matter.
I knew it, Sam. You're going to overachieve on us, man. I knew somebody was going to do this.
I'm a host, so I have to do better than the guests. I have to, no, this is a band that I talk about all the time. Actually, my latest video that I just put up this afternoon was reviewing their most recent record. And this is the Wood Brothers 2013 released The Muse, which to me is the first real classic Wood Brothers album. They made a couple of EPs and a couple of more straight acoustic albums prior, but this is the first Wood Brothers album that utilized this gentleman right here. His name is Jono Ricks, an absolutely incredible harmony singer, percussionist, and keyboardist. And yes, he does play drums and keyboard at the same time. And he also plays a wonderful instrument called a shitar, which is essentially a guitar that's been beat to crap, that he's added all sorts of bells and whistles to, literally little tambourines, and he uses the loose strings as a snare, and he plays it when they do their acoustic number around one mic. He plays 2 or 3 tracks with that. But the Muse, it's just got some incredible songs like Wasting My Mind at the opening track. The Muse itself is a beautiful ballad about the lead singer's wife. They do the old New Orleans song "I Got Loaded," which Los Lobos had a big cover with, a pretty moderate hit. But if you like the band, if you like, kind of some funk, a little bit of funk, but more acoustic bass, check out the Wood Brothers. I love them. I talk about them anytime I can. So from 2013, there you go.
I figured they would make an appearance in your list somewhere.
I had to figure out which one I was going to do because they put out a lot of albums since 2013.
All right. I'm going to start my list off with I'm going to make myself big here. Watch this. We're getting real fancy here tonight. So
high tag, yep.
All right. I'm starting off with Liam Gallagher. Why me, why not? I'm a big Oasis fan. But post Oasis, and even during Oasis, I was never a great fan of Liam. I always liked Noel. And post Oasis, when he was doing his other band, BDI, not a big fan. And I liked Noel's solo stuff initially, and then it started to get a little too dancey and electronic. And then Noel put out this album in 2019. Why me and why not? I love it. Sort of harkened back to that sort of, almost like Oasis in their prime. There's some great stuff on here. One of Us is a great song. Once is another fantastic song. It sounds like Oasis in their prime. So I'm surprised that I found myself liking Liam Gallagher for the first time ever. And then he did an unplugged surrounding this album too. And the MTV Unplugged is actually even better than this, but we generally don't do live albums. So I'm going with Liam Gallagher's Why Me, Why Not? Because why not?
Why not?
You've been waiting to say that all day, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been. Yeah.
I don't think I've heard a single Oasis side project. I've not heard that record or any solo record from them. So that's kind of weird.
They're kind of hit and miss. Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. Noel's the better musician, unquestionably. Liam is what he is, and Noel is the better songwriter.
Sure.
And his stuff started off kind of interesting, and then it just, my opinion, he was trying to get more experimental, and I didn't think it was necessarily in a good way. So this has sort of a very nostalgia feel to it. So quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and I agree with Rob because actually, when I was going through the list, I was looking at my small Liam Gallagher collection because I have all those recent albums, including the 2 live albums that he put out. Live stuff, his solo stuff is much better than BDI, and it's definitely knocking Noel out of the water, even though Noel is obviously the genius of Oasis with the guitarist and being the writer. So, but
yeah. We'll run through some comments here. Hi, David. Hi, Jack. Matt, what's going on? Well, we're having a live stream, Matt. Thank you, David. I love your podcast contributions too. Shameless plug. Agreed. For those that don't know, there is a Vinyl Community Podcasts wherever you get your podcasts from, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, wherever, where you can check out vinylcommunitypodcasts.com. I should have like a ticker or something across the bottom.
You got that banner. You can just change that up anytime you want, buddy.
I could, and I might just do that. For those that aren't familiar, Chance, it's your baby. Why don't you give a little plug about what the podcasts are about?
Oh, I wasn't prepared for this, but I'll see what I can do.
He's always prepared.
You got it, man.
No, honestly, this whole idea started a couple things. One thing I like to do is kind of get in the car and go check out record shops, not too far away, right? And even when I'm traveling by plane or whatever, like I just like listening to podcasts. I like listening to music, obviously. And I noticed there just wasn't a lot of podcasts that I could find talking about record collecting, talking about vinyl music. There's music podcasts, like Disgraceland is a good one, but with consistency, right? Like the Record Store Day podcast that Mike Myers' brother, host is a nice one, but they put out content maybe once a month. Women in Vinyl is another nice one, maybe once a month. I know Steve Carlson just started one. They're doing it once a week, but just felt like, just to be completely selfish, like I kind of wanted something to listen to of this variety. I know some other people like Dylan at Noble Records had kind of flirted with. He's done a couple podcasts, but again, consistency is the main thing, right? Too many records has done it. Consistency. So I thought, I could try this myself and just kind of get burnt out and quit doing it, or I could do like a coalition of the willing, and I knew some like-minded folks in the community that I thought would kind of be down with the concept, and we're still growing. It's definitely open invitation. Like it's not no exclusions. Like if anyone has an idea or wants to do, there's the sky's the limit. Like everything's paid for. Like join us, etc. But it's more of just talking with people in the community about the community, sometimes about record collecting, sharing best practices, tips, whatever. And then the main thing is the consistency piece, right? Like, we try to have 2 shows a week. I think we're on like the Lou Gehrig streak. We have done 2 shows. Sometimes it's gotten hairy because people's homework's been late. So I've had to like throw a live stream up there or whatever. And the main thing is like, if I wanted to do the Concert Buddy thing, I would do the Concert Buddy thing. I really like the diversity of programming and the people and the voices that we're giving airtime to, and more to come. Like there's other people we're talking about bringing on, and I just, again, started from a selfish place, but it's kind of grown organically, and we've grown, and our downloads are up month over month. And it's what it becomes 6 months from now, a year from now, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any grand illusions or whatever, but the main thing is programming. Essentially for me, I go like tomorrow, I'll be listening to tomorrow's show when I'm at the gym running on the treadmill, and even though I uploaded it and I know what it's about, I still listen because I'm curious, right? And I know you guys, Rob, obviously you've done a couple now, and the Jazz Bums, will sneak preview, they're going to be on tomorrow. But anyway, it's something kind of like the YouTube stuff that we do. It kind of stokes the creative fire. It also you're learning new skills. I'm learning about audio quality now. I mean, I was listening to some of the podcasts I've done before, and it sounded like I was in a phone booth or something. If young people probably don't know what those are, but that you used to have to make phone calls in phone booths. But you know what I mean? Like those, it's very similar to the YouTube journey. You just learn the more you do it, you get the reps in and that sort of thing. So plus, I think it serves, it's a whole service model. I think people really get enjoyment out of it. And I don't know, it's just something I'm really, really excited about, and something that I think makes the community better. And hopefully, we get more people involved, and we can do it more than twice a week, and, sky's the limit. Anyway, sorry, ramble sore.
It's all good, man. It's worthwhile promoting because I love it. I mean, obviously, selfishly, I've done a couple episodes, so of course I support it, but it's just a great way to foster a sense of community outside of our, we have our own YouTube channels, and we do things like what we're doing tonight, but this is just another way to actually make a community out of this loose coalition of people. So it's
to that point, that's why it's called Vinyl Community Podcasts. It could have been, the Concert Buddy show or the Rob show, whatever. I mean, that only gets you so far, but I think just having a coalition of the willing and folks that have different experiences and different backgrounds and different subject matter expertise, it just makes for a more robust offering to the listener, to the end consumer. And I think that's what it's all about. I mean, nobody wants to listen to me talk twice a week. My wife doesn't even want to listen to me talk twice a week, let alone people talk about records. You know what I mean? But I think we have a good thing going, and we've got a good group of folks so far, and other people have expressed interest, and we'll see where it goes. It's sky's the limit, but there is no boundaries, so to speak. We're not gatekeeping or doing that stuff. I've been very open about, even if you're not on YouTube, even if you're somebody just watches YouTube, like reach out to me, concertbuddy@gmail.com, and like happy to talk about ideas or ways to incorporate you and bring you along, because again, I think the community is the main thing. You don't have to be on YouTube to be part of the vinyl community. You don't have to own a record store to be part of the vinyl community. It's like music. Just want to talk to people about music. Just want to hear about music. It's easy. I mean, it's really, there's not any easier way to be part of this whole thing. It's just a matter of people just expressing interest. Here we are.
Well said. Cardboard Head Guy, Glen's favorite name on YouTube. The topic today is our favorite albums from the last 13 years, 2010 till now. What else we got? Hey, Bob. The Leafs are already losing 2-0. Oh, my goodness. The game's only in, an hour into it? Wow. Marsha, welcome. Tony from Jersey. See if I'm almost caught up here.
Now, you can't miss your fellow Canadian, Jason Arsenal. Come on.
I'm getting to him. I'm getting
There
to
he
him.
is.
Good evening.
One of the nicest guys in the vinyl community right there.
Absolutely. We got to get him on here one of these days.
I've been kind of poking. It's like, hey, man, anytime, buddy.
I know.
If you guys want to have your own like Canada only like territory like podcast, like I'm all for it. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
That's why I like what you did with Glenn. I thought that was great because it's the point of view about the crazy prices. Like we hear you guys talk about it, but for people who actually live it to express, and you guys shared a lot of information. I even had people reach out to me and share information that maybe you guys didn't know. You know what I mean? But that's all about the community part of this stuff. It's just awesome.
Yep. Jason says, yeah, I can't. Oh, where did the comment go? There we go. Come on. Technical problems. Can't get enough of the VC content. Keep up with the pods and the videos. Hopefully people are appreciating the fact that you offer your own time for basically no remuneration.
Big word, Jason. Remuneration. Man, I might have to look that one up after this.
Well, what Jason doesn't know is salvagely we're all doing this to get rich. We're just doing a shitty job of it.
Yeah. Yeah, my retirement plan is going to mean I'm going to be working a lot longer than I anticipated. This thing golden ticket.
I think between the four of us, we've probably made this much money.
That's the truth.
I think even that number is too high. I'm actually in a hole with all the podcast stuff. So
yeah, fair enough.
Losing money on this deal.
It's now 3-0 at the end of the first.
Oh.
Jason says it's too cold to do anything in Canada but listen to music. Yeah, Brian and I were talking before we came on. It's snowing up here today, so it's cold. Yet 2 days ago, I was walking around in shorts and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's spring up here.
Which, to be fair, you're in shorts anyway today, I'm sure.
I am, as a matter of fact.
If you had legs like Rob's, you'd always wear shorts.
Well, geez.
Going on.
My legs have only appeared in one video, so.
That's probably for the best because the sexual outcry, I mean, it just would have set a pandemonium, like a stampede of just ladies and probably some guys just coming up to the Great White North to just.
They would have been demanding an OnlyFans account,
Or it could have been a thread, and then we'd all have to do it, which would be a problem.
You might be onto something. Hi, Malia.
What's going on?
Malia wants to know who is the man in the second box. Well, let me hide your comment, and you can see.
There you go.
Brian from Embryonic Robot, my fellow Canadian from Toronto. So we have to have two Canadians on these Tuesday night live streams. I guess that's the rule now. So
just to balance it out.
There you go. All right, let's get into what's number 12 on everybody's list. Brian, you're up.
All right, so I didn't say. I guess I should have said. I'm not sure if these are in order. I know
they don't have to be. What is the 12?
They're changing the rules on us, Brian. Sam has set the expectation. We had to have this remunerated. Is that the right word, Jason? Remunerated.
They are sequenced, and I think maybe they are in the right order. But anyway, so for 12, the 12th one I chose is this Bob Dylan record, "Rough and Rowdy Ways."
Oh, awesome.
From 2020. Now, I like this record a lot because I'm not really an old school Bob Dylan fan. I really didn't listen to him until maybe 2006 or something like that. And but this record it's quite diverse, right? It has some mellow tracks, has these electric blues tracks like False Prophet and Goodbye Jimmy Reed, which I think are great. And then that crazy long Murder Most Foul track, which I think is fantastic. But this kind of grabbed me because it's very, as I said, diverse and covers a lot of different sounds. And I think it's really great. I don't understand the cover, but maybe that's just me. But I think it's fantastic. 2020.
Awesome choice.
Yeah.
That just made Glenn very happy. That's one of his top probably 5 Dylan records.
Is that right? Well, I'm not sure. I wonder if I'd put it in the top 5. Maybe. But I like it. I was kind of surprised too, right? No one knew it was coming, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So,
what do you got for us, Chance?
Well, I want to make the viewer. I want to take them on a journey. So I want to make sure I don't have these ranked, but let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. So I'm going to take some shit because you're going to say, oh, you're showing me a sealed record, which I am, but I've got like 3 different versions of this. This was just the first one I grabbed. This was Metallica's last effort. They just came out with the new record last Friday, 72 Seasons. Jury's still out on that one, but this is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Really enjoyed this effort. This was probably, let's call it post-Black Album. I would say probably my second favorite effort they've done, right behind Death Magnetic 2008, which Rick Rubin produced, which was a return to form as far as I'm concerned. but you've got some real bangers on here. I mean, everything is full throttle. I think probably my favorite. Oh, see, I'm trying to get better at this. Atlas Rise is one of my favorite tracks on here. I mean, this is like you're at the gym and you just want to throw some heavy stuff around, or you've had a bad day and you just throw this on and just get down with it. So good. Now, Moth to the Flame was the song that they were trying to do. I think it was at the Grammys with Lady Gaga, and they rehearsed and they were really ready for it. And then the show started and the performance started, and like the mic went out. I think James's mic went out, so he got pissed off, kicked it over and stuff. Like, couldn't have went any worse. You know, they had this big expectation of collaborating with Lady Gaga, and she was like singing like metal is like really cool, and then it just went straight to the toilet. But anyway, I think this is 2016 if I'm not mistaken. But this is, you gotta keep those hype stickers. Exclusive red vinyl. I mean, they did red vinyl, black vinyl. I have the deluxe downstairs just because, you know, I'm completionist like that. But anyway, big Metallica fan. Like I said, jury's still out on the new album, 72 Seasons. It's so far I've been a little apprehensive to say anything too much because I want to digest it more, but all the songs are like 6 or 7 long, which is usually the Metallica MO, but I also think it's a little unfocused because usually when they have a producer, like a producer who's produced other people, he kind of holds their feet to the fire and kind of pushes them creatively, like Rick Rubin did, or even early Bob, not so much the later Bob Rock stuff. But this album was like co-produced with some some guy, which tells me that he was just basically operating the board for them and taking instructions. So anyway, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, number 2.
Very good. All right, Sam.
All right, it's I was actually so far I was kind of expecting Brian to already pull out some deeper cut albums, but he's I think I'm beating him so far in this round because I've known everything that he's talked about so far.
Saving it for later.
I'm sure. So for me, number 12, again, a group that I talk about a lot, and I believe just made an appearance last week when we had our live stream about favorite songs of the 2000s. And this is a group called Good Old War. This is their most recent full-length album from 2015 called Broken Into Better Shape. They did do a 3 digital EP series, I think in 2017. But even then, I mean, they haven't put out music in 6 years, and I'm really hoping that they do. They're a great trio. They're a harmony trio. Their first 3 albums are more acoustic-y bass, as you can imagine, for things that I like. But this one was them trying to go kind of mainstream, I guess, kind of like for anybody that follows Mumford & Sons, kind of like what Mumford & Sons did on their 3rd album, or even a group like The Head and the Heart did on their 3rd album. This was kind of them trying to figure out what they want it to be, if they wanted to have a pop hit or not. And obviously nothing from this album ever hit the radio. They just didn't have that, whatever radio looks for now, even though a lot of these songs sound like they could have been great pop hits. So this one has a little bit more production to it, but I like it quite a bit. Again, it's called Broken Into Better Shape by Good Old War. Again, it's still got some great harmonies, 3-part harmonies on it, some great guitar parts, but also just some really fun pop tracks. A standout on this album is called Broken Record, which is just really fun. It's just a great, driving sing-along song. So this is number 12, Good Old War, Broken Into Better Shape.
Good choice, Sam. My number 12, since Chance showed Metallica, I'm going something really, not even close to Metallica. So I don't think it's any secret to anybody.
Man, I know what's gonna happen.
No, you don't know where this is going.
I've received some private messages. Don't worry.
No, this isn't where it's going. It's no secret I'm a Swiftie. However, I'm going to show Ryan Adams 1989.
Oh, curveball! Look at you, 12-6 curveball. All right.
Wow.
So, do I like Taylor Swift's 1989? Of course I do. I'm a Swiftie. Do I like Ryan Adams 1989? Oh yes, much better. Fantastic. I like Ryan Adams to begin with. As a person, he's a dick, but as a musician, he'd be a wanker if Mazzy had anything to say, I'm sure. But I like his music, and this intrigued me because it took an album that is a very produced pop album, and he put sort of like an indie rock acoustic mostly spin on it. And it's amazing how dramatically different this is from Taylor's record. And I love them both, but this is vastly superior.
Do you know what Taylor Swift thinks of that record? Has she heard it?
She likes it too.
Oh, she likes it.
Yep.
Brandon.
She probably also likes the royalty she gets. not that she needs it because she's a bazillionaire, but
Yeah, true.
So let's get caught in some comments here. Where are we? Good evening, Jason. I like this. The Cardinals are ass right now.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Oh, get out of here. 1993, buddy. Come on now.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good right now, though.
The ghost of Cito Gaston better help you out this year. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, we have the third best record in baseball.
Oh, in 3 weeks. All right.
Yeah, well, hey, and we stopped those the 13-game winning streak from Tampa Bay. So
You did. Well, hey, that and a participation trophy are waiting for you at the end of the season.
why you got to be like this, man? Jesus,
Very good,
I thought
Jack.
we were friends. I never said your Cardinals were ass. I just inquired how they were doing because the only 3 games I followed was when we were in town opening the season. Beyond that, I don't know how
you mean the one where we won 2 out of 3? Is that how
Right.
that turned out? Okay, that's
correct. Yeah. Jack says new Paul McCartney 2013.
That was a good album for sure. I enjoyed that one.
Trevor says, I agree. That was a great album. Agrees with you, Chance.
Smart guy. Smart guy.
New Metallica is not as good as New Overkill, apparently. They are straight booty. I don't see them getting any better at the moment. You and I discussed before, pitching.
That's right.
What's Randall Nelson have to say? Trouble Will
Randy.
Find Me by The National. That's a good record.
That is a good record. I agree.
That is a good record. Oh, my God. We got a
Look who's
celebrity
here.
in the Phoenix.
Yeah, Brandon, what's up?
Brandon. Mr. Hall of Fame. I'm not worthy.
Brandon.
Brandon was just a little late. I think he must have sensed a disturbance in the force when I showed that Metallica album, and
Must have been.
it summoned him up. Like Thriller. They come out from the sewers, and Brandon's like, "Metallica, what's going on?"
He's just doing this a lot.
That's
Tito
right.
Gaston. Good dig, Chance. Come on now. All right. We are on what, number 11 now?
11.
Man, you are up, sir.
All right, so I chose The War on Drugs.
Okay.
Lost in the Dream, the third record from 2014. This is a long record. It's 60 minutes, so it's a double record. And it's Americana, indie, maybe psych, influenced by apparently everyone from Springsteen to Tom Petty and Spacemen 3 and the Waterboys and Krautrock. So a lot of influences. And the songs tend to be quite long in many cases. First track, Under the Pressure, which I think is brilliant, especially the live version. If you can track down the live version of that, it's really fantastic. Yeah, some sort of long, I guess maybe driving music. They kind of get into a groove and they keep it going. So I think this is a really great band. Sort of new to me. I discovered them about a year ago, and I think they're really fantastic. So The War on Drugs.
Cool.
All right, now Rob, I'm trying to employ some strategy because what you did there, I think I could. It's almost like checkers. I could almost piggyback like Tetris, but I think I'm gonna wait because I got to set it up, and I also have to win favor with our co-host Sam today. So I wanted to show a record that will probably be near and dear to him, or maybe he thinks it's straight booty, to borrow my word earlier. And that is the last album from Tom
I knew you were
Petty.
going to pull that out.
Yes, sir.
I mean, even before he passed away, like when I got this, like I got it when it came out, loved it. I just absolutely adored it. And I mean, was the lead single on this one, Sam? Was it American
American Dream Plan B.
American Dream? Like it just hooked me because it just had good rhythm and just like kind of like that Southern. I know them boys. They're from Jacksonville. I know they're from like,
Gainesville.
Gainesville. Yeah. So like that Northern Florida kind of thing. Absolutely love this. Obviously, a bummer what happened to Tom. It's funny is like this album is so easy. I'd say easy, but it's like Echo. Some of the later stuff gets a little bit more critical or more commercial celebration, but I think this is like sneaky good. It was unfortunately what happened to him, but it was a great way to go out. And I think when they did those box sets in 2016, 17, I think they included this, which was a nice touch. But man, it's jam. This one is open, by the way, guys. Again, I do listen to my records.
No, that's a great, because that American Dream, it kind of starts. It's that really crunchy, like super heavy, like don't. It's just a great song, and I mean, Petty's kind of got an effect on his voice on that track, and then it goes right into his Fault Lines #2 on that album.
Yeah, yep.
It kind of goes in that doon. Yeah. It's very like groovy, like almost bossa nova kind of.
Well, Tom was like such a great band leader too. Like he put a lot of thought in how to like put the tracks and like actually tell stories through music. I love it.
Yeah, great pick.
Thanks, sir.
Number 11 for me, and I'm glad Glenn isn't here because he might vomit a little bit if I was to show this, because this is an album that I tried to get him into because it's everything that he would like about an album. It's got pretty heavy banjo in it. It's got kind of smoky kind of vocals, similar like Rod Stewart kind of tone to the singing, but it's one of my favorite kind of indie folk groups called Camp. And this is their most recent album. It came out last year called Lavender Days. Glenn doesn't like it. He thinks it's a little too mellow. I think it's a masterpiece of an album. Honestly, I listened to it. It was one of my top 2 or 3 most listened to albums last year, if not the most listened to. I'm trying to remember now. But I listen to this album at least once a month ever since it came out. And again, just if you like, again, smoky vocals, kind of introspective lyrics. And they're called Camp with 2 A's, but they were two guys that they knew each other at summer camp, but they knew each other a little bit further back than that. And it does sound like you're going out into the wilderness and hanging out in the woods with your buddies, having a beer, and just hearing the outdoors. That's what it sounds like, and that's what they try to go for. So Lavender Days from 2022 is number 11.
All right. Good pick, Sam. Okay. I'm going with an album that everyone received for free and everyone bitched and moaned about it, which I never understood. If you don't want it, just delete it.
Amen.
U2's Songs of Innocence. This is their album from, when did this come out? 2014. And it was kind of one they dropped on everybody by surprise. No one even knew it was coming out. I'm a huge U2 fan. I'm a U2 completist. I kind of tend to almost like, I like the album, and then the next album, they're kind of, even though I'm a U2 completist, it's hit and miss. I don't like the sequel that came after this, Songs of Experience, but I absolutely love this. Mm-hmm. Maybe one of my top 3, maybe.
Wow.
Or maybe
wow.
Top 4. I love it. The Miracle of Joey Ramone, great lead track. Iris, which is a song about his mom. The Troubles is just this cool, haunting song. Every Breaking Wave. I love everything about this. It's one of my more favorite U2 albums.
Cool.
I've never heard it, even though I got it free.
Only in today's society would people complain about getting a free album. Like, I mean, I think that was the beginning of the entitlement curve and raising the entitlement to beacon out, because I get it. Like, people who don't want to take up space on their device. Okay, maybe you can make that argument, but
yeah.
And I also know the commercial piece that, they claim that it's the biggest selling album of all time. I get table on that one, but come on, if you don't like it, delete it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm a U2 fan, and I go, they gave you something for free. If you don't like it, delete it. And then I would try to put myself in the head of, what if I got a Miley Cyrus album for free? I'm not going to want it. I'm not going to listen to it.
You're not going to on my list later on, then. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I've got some VCLT coming your way.
Let me pick something else. Let's say I got a I don't know.
No, go with
Depeche Mode.
I don't know. Let's say I got, pick whatever your least favorite artist is. If I got one of those and I didn't want it, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to piss off. All I'm going to do is highlight it and then hit delete. And I don't know why it was such a big deal, but
I think they had to, actually, some people didn't know how to delete it. I think that was one of the things too.
Yeah.
They had to explain how to delete it.
maybe.
And I think that says everything and nothing at the same time.
Yes, I think it might.
I will say I just watched last night or Sunday night. I finally watched their documentary with David Letterman and thoroughly enjoyed it on Disney. It was very good.
I will be having a Songs of Surrender video in about the next 2 or 3 days, so stay tuned.
That's his favorite YouTube album.
Wow, that's what we call a deep tease, right? That is a deep tease.
That's right, eh? Just showing you a bit of cleavage, and that's it.
Whoa, ho, ho.
All right, where are we here? We are right here. So Brandon says it sure did.
I think he was talking about the Thriller reference. I mean, I made that
I think so.
and brought him to market. Yeah.
And he says that he ignored the war on drugs for so long, and that was his mistake.
Yep.
I've heard a little bit of them, but I've not paid attention.
I know of them, but I haven't found the song to make me do the deep dive. There's right. I saw the National earlier. No disrespect on the National. I've even seen them live. I just haven't been able to connect with it. It's maybe just not my thing.
Yeah. Chance wants to see an updated Metallica ranking.
Well, Brandon had a very I wouldn't say controversial, but he did. He ranked. I think it was a year ago. Brandon, tell me if I'm wrong on this. This is about a year ago. He did a video and he ranked. Might have been top 10 or it might have been the whole discography. Kind of like what we're doing, 13-1 or whatever. And his number one was a little bit of a surprise. So I don't think 72 seasons will crack the top 10. That's just my guess. But let it breathe, let it marinate, and could be wrong.
Randy says his number 11 is Modern Blues by the Waterboys. I don't know that one.
I know Randy likes the Waterboys a lot.
Yeah. Brandon says, Concert Buddy, that would be interesting. Would any move? Who's to say? So we'll see. Inquiring minds want to know. You probably need to let 72, as you just said, marinate a little bit. Amazing. The War on Drugs album. Listen to The Strangest Thing.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right. What are we doing here? Number 10?
Top 10. We're 10. Yeah.
10.
All right.
All right, Brian, you're up.
Me. So I chose Vampire Weekend.
Oh, great.
Modern Vampires of the City. This is their third record, right? From, I'm going to forget the date now, 2013. So a bit of a change in sound. If I guess sometimes they're described as indie pop or art pop or baroque pop, chamber pop, world beat, because they had a kind of East Indian influence in some of their sounds in the first two records. A bit different here, but I think it's really fantastic. And in terms of tracks, Obvious Bicycles, Unbelievers, you may have heard, Step, Diane Young, they're all great. So I think this is a really fantastic record.
Yeah, they're really the only Vampire Weekend that I own is the most recent one, and because I love those singles, Harmony Hall, and Unbelievers is a great track. You just mentioned Diane Young. They definitely have a Paul Simon influence as well.
Yeah, that's
and
probably
just
true.
The most recent album, Paul Simon, I think late 70s, early 80s Grateful Dead, Touch of Grey Grateful Dead.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Interesting statement. Yeah,
I know Ezra Koenig, he was listening to a lot of Dead, especially for the last album, and a lot of Graceland by Paul Simon.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense now that you say that. I hadn't thought of that, but that makes sense.
Yeah. It's Chance. Sorry, I don't want to.
Man, I can't believe it.
Done.
Just for that, I'm gonna pull out a real stinker on you.
Just get on with it, Chance. Let's move along.
Here comes the Miley Cyrus.
No. That's in my pocket. All right. So the reason I showed the Petty first, hang on, you know where I'm going. I really wanted to show this after Rob showed his Ryan Adams record, but I wanted to show the Petty first because I think this is the greatest Tom Petty impersonation album of all time. And what I mean by that is when I put this on, it is just so rich with 80s type of crisp, clear songwriting and vibe, if that makes sense. Give Me Something Good, I think, was the lead single off of this one. But everything, Am I Safe, My Wrecking Ball, just so good. Start to finish, again, like you said, Rob, like Ryan Adams gets a lot of grief because, you know, he, for lack of a better word, has kind of been a dick at various points in his life. But with this one, I mean, this is probably, to me, I know Gold is probably, has always been like the standard bearer for me with his catalog. But this one, I got to say, it's probably my favorite album in the discography. And even Prisoner right behind this one was really good. Like he got, I think after him and Mandy Moore split, he got in a really, for lack of a better word, productive creative place. And I think that his output, like with this album with Prisoner, the stuff that he's put out since like the last album or two, it's been just okay, in my opinion. But like this, I know some people who are Ryan Adams fans who are like, they don't like this album. I get it. Like it makes sense because it is kind of like a different vibe than his previous catalog and even stuff he's done since, like I said. But man, this is like the standard bearer. Like this is easily, like I think we're at top 10, right? Like this is easily like top 10 of the last 13 years for me, no doubt.
Great record. What do you got for us, Sam?
So I had to really think when I was doing these. I had a lot on my what are they, honorable mentions, because I originally made my list as a top 10, and this one obviously was my number 10, and it was my favorite album of 2021, and it's definitely my favorite by this band. One of my favorite bands called Lord Huron, and this is their album Long Lost, which came out this again their most recent release. If you like, and Randy's in the comments, he will agree with me, and I know Brandon's in the audience as well. His buddy JC is a big fan at the flip side, and he turned Jeff Witcher into a Lord Huron fan. So they've had a slow burn in the vinyl community. I caught on to them. This is one of my COVID bands that I discovered during COVID and just fell in love with them immediately. This is their fourth record. It's one of those albums, and they literally say in the small print, you can't read it because of my screen, but it says this recording is intended to be enjoyed in sequence and without interruptions. And it's one of those long kind of mood pieces. The lead guy, Ben Schneider, I think is his name. He went to art school, and so all of his albums have this artistic tone to them. And this is set up. It's kind of got a few spoken word interludes between songs, like little 20-second clips where it's like you're on a variety show. And so it's like, you hear like this host saying, you're like, well, wasn't that a great song? And it's kind of taking on like this old, like early 1960s show. But one of the top songs, it would probably make my top 50 songs of all time, is the song I Lied with, it's a duet with Alison Ponthier. And it is just the most beautiful song about a breakup that you've ever heard. I mean, and Jeff Witcher, I think he just put it in his top 100 songs of all time list as well. It is just an absolute masterpiece of a song. So if you know nothing from this album, look up the song I Lied by Lord Huron. And in terms of what they sound like, they've got a Chris Isaak type production, very atmospheric type production, with a little bit of rockabilly kind of undertone to it. So that's kind of the sound that you can kind of think of. Like San Francisco Days kind of style. So Lord Huron, Long Lost cracks the top 10.
Side note, what do you think about Lonesome Dreams? That's always been my favorite.
Yeah, that was the big one with The Night We Met, which was like in all the rom-com movies and everything. Yeah. I love it. I love the song Fool for Love, which is when introducing somebody to Lord Huron, I always tell them listen to Fool for Love, which I love that album. That's probably my second favorite. And then the other two are tied, Vide Noir, and then the I can't remember the title of the first album, but I love Lonesome Dreams. It's definitely, I mean, it receives a lot of airplay in my console.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, my number 10 is
Taylor
that what we're on?
Swift.
They were at 10.
No, come on, Sam. If I'm ranking my 13 favorite albums, Taylor Swift is going to be much closer to the top than number 10.
Okay.
So I'm picking an album from 2013 that when I heard about it, I was intrigued that I wasn't sure if it would work. And boy, does it. Billy Joe and Nora, Foreverly.
Huh.
It's
Awesome.
Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day and Nora Jones.
Right. Great.
Covering the Everly Brothers' first album, which was called Songs Our Daddy Taught Us. It's fantastic. It's as folky as you could possibly get. Not what I would expect from Billy Joe Armstrong by any means, but this is just a a fantastic record.
He's like the long lost Everly brother. The way his voice sounds on that,
Right?
he could have been the third harmony easy.
Yep. It totally blew me away when I heard it.
Yep.
All right. What we got going on in the comments here?
Hey,
Oh,
Brian.
look who it is. Brian from Shamrock and Records. Ryan
Long
Adams
time, buddy.
Rules. Great songwriter. It's an awesome record. How you doing, Brian? I haven't heard from you.
I know
either, man.
Brian, I'm sure, knows Lord Huron.
Probably would.
Yep.
Randy, number 10, 3 Chords and the Truth, Van Morrison. You'll like that one, Sam, right?
Yeah, that's a top modern day Van Morrison release. Yep. It didn't make my list. It was on my honorable mentions, Randy.
Ryan's got good taste, according to Chance.
Definitely.
Second Everly Brothers. Pardon me. All right. I'm not overly familiar with their catalog. I knew it was an early one, nevertheless.
Yep.
He sounds a lot like Don. Yeah, he does. He does. Absolutely. All right. Number 9. Brian, what do you
All
got?
right, so I chose this because I chose Tool, Fear Inoculum, partly because it had been 10 years since we had a Tool record. So I think because of that, it was like, wow, finally. And, I guess everyone knows progressive metal, I guess is a description, alternative metal, hard rock. But anyway, I didn't buy the 6 vinyl version. This is the triple vinyl version. But anyway, I chose this because, I didn't buy it right away. I streamed it. I thought I really liked it. It has a lot of energy. And, I think in truth, the earlier, than the first 2, or the previous 2 records are probably better. But I picked this 2019 because I think it's really good. And I don't know what to say about it, except that, I guess maybe having 10 years between records caused a bit of pent-up interest in it. So
That'll do it.
Are you happy you did not buy that deluxe edition? Because I know a lot of people went out and bought it right off the jump, and then was it like a month or 2 later, it literally halved in price, and they were kicking themselves.
yeah, no, I am happy because I saw it there and it was just way too much, and I didn't understand the weirdness of the etching on one side of every. It just struck me as really odd. The price has come down since this came out, but I was happy to wait and get this one for sure.
Yeah, and I know Chance is one of the big reasons I double checked the Tom Petty at the Fillmore, because he posted on Facebook or somewhere that it was drastically. I didn't get it because I was like, I really don't need it again on vinyl. But just recently, Let It Be, the deluxe, came out on vinyl for $56, and I had to buy it.
I think I hate to break it to you. I think it even went lower than that because it was like this weird pricing thing that was going on because it was. I believe they're all the same entity. It's like Import CDs, is also Rare Waves, is
Deep
also
discount.
Deep Discount. And today I even noticed, or last couple days, Deep Discount or third-party sales on Walmart have been also just like blowing out inventory. It's unbelievable. Like I got this David Bowie box that actually, sorry to hijack this, but I mean, this is like at retail, this is like a $400 box set, and I got it for $70. Like, I mean, it's less than, $10 a disc. Like,
Not in Canada.
Not in Canada. And might I suggest people check out the Violent Community podcast episode from Monday, which was about that very topic.
Touche.
It looks like on, just before we continue, Deep Discount, Let It Be is no longer on Deep Discount.
Must have sold out. Yeah. That's what happened to that box set, is they sold through them because I think, again, through import CDs.
It did exactly what they wanted it to do.
Yeah. Now the hope is, because I did not get the Revolver mono, because the only way you could get that reissued, the mono, was part of that $200 box, and I got the stereo mix because I got it through the Walmart $15 sale, but I'm hoping that in another 6 months or so, if that Revolver goes down to like $40 or $50, I think I'll probably pop on it. But
yeah, I'm with you.
Patience is a virtue, fellas. All right, so my next album is, I'm gonna go back to the soul and R&B tip. That's my man Charles Bradley. This is called Changes. So the title track was a cover of, I believe it's the Black Sabbath song Changes. But anyway, this one is not the original pressing. This is actually like a Auburn type of band box. Are you guys familiar with that subscription service?
Yeah.
So they did like their own treatment for it. And it's funny is like these subscription services, I'll keep holding it. These subscription services say this is like exclusive, but then when they don't sell through them, then magically you see them pop up online. Like Plaid Room was selling this particular variant and all that stuff. But anyway, Charles is a guy who If you're not familiar, he used to be called like Velvet Jones. He was a guy who like went into the military, and he had this great voice. Like the best way to describe him is like very James Brown inspired. Matter of fact, when he got out of the service, he used to be a James Brown impersonator essentially. And he had the dance, he had the voice, everything like that. But he didn't get signed and like pursue his own music outside of the James Brown cover stuff in New York until late in life, like late 50s. In fact, I think when his first album came out, I think he was probably 59. So fortunately he passed away a couple years ago. So he didn't really get to see like his like a real long career, but just an amazing like talent, amazing performer. This is his last album while he was alive. They did a posthumous release after he passed away kind of thing. But I mean, an amazing singer, amazing ability to be exposed to this guy so late in life to, be able to see his talents actually shine. He was on the Daptone label that, they signed like Sharon Jones and artists like that. So they definitely have a vibe. And, he wasn't necessarily a prolific songwriter. I'm sure a lot of the people at Daptone helped him write some of these songs, but I could have picked any Charles record for this demonstration. I just love them all. And I've seen him. I saw him like 4 or 5 times, and just a great guy.
Cool. Number 9, single digits. Again, if you follow my channel at all, I'm a big Dylan fan, and I'm glad that Brian showed the Rough and Rowdy Ways from, I guess we're creeping up on 3 years now that it came out. This is the first Dylan album that I bought new. Like when I was getting into Dylan, this is the first album that I bought when it came out, and that would be his 2012 release, Tempest. Absolutely love this record. Again, it's one of those albums where Dylan's voice is just almost completely shot, and I love Dylan. In terms of his singing, this is probably the worst Dylan album to start with. But then when he did those Sinatra albums, he did this album in 2012 and didn't put out a original album until the album that Brian showed in 2020. So he went 8 years without original music. Yet in that time, he put out an additional 5 discs worth of music with the Sinatra covers. So he was working up his voice to he kind of honed in on. I think he was taking better care of himself. But this album has some great tracks. The first song is this kind of shuffle with Duquesne whistle. For me, the background music would be perfect to be any kind of movie soundtrack for my life. I would love the music, the Duquesne whistle, to follow me wherever I go. A lot of these songs he still does live. Soon After Midnight is a beautiful ballad. Long and Wasted Years is another ballad that he does live. Pay in Blood, which is just a biting song where he says, "I'll pay in blood, but not my own." It's just, the past 20 years, really since like the Love and Theft album, he's been or Time Out of Mind, I should say, he's been talking about his mortality. Early Roman Kings is like a Bo Diddley beat, kind of like the bom bom down down. That's one that he constantly does live still. And then he closes he does the really long track Tempest, the title track, which is about the Titanic sinking, which is really strange because he incorporates historical elements with elements from the movie. So like the lead character's name in the song is Leo, like Leonardo DiCaprio. So it's kind of interesting. And then he finishes the album with a tribute to John Lennon called Roll On John, where he references a few Beatles songs. And of course, Dylan was huge friends with the Beatles, turned them on the pot in 1965. So it's a really great album. It's kind of concluded that some people say it was a trilogy, but Dylan's had so many trilogies. I don't believe it's a trilogy, but it was his last album of original material until 2020, Tempest from 2012.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, my next one is one that probably only Brian is going to know, if Brian even knows this band. He should, being from Toronto. One of my favorites, a alt country band called Cuff the Duke. Do you know them, Brian?
I know them, yeah.
Perfect. So Cuff the Duke, they formed around about 2004, maybe. This was their last album in 2012 called Union. They're not broken up. They're on indefinite hiatus, and they get together every once in a while and play some shows. Fantastic alt country band. If I were to put it in kind of a frame of reference that people would understand, it's kind of Uncle Tupelo kind of, I guess would be as close as I would describe it. Bunch of young guys. I'm actually friends with AJ, the drummer, and Wayne, the lead singer. Wayne, we talked about the National a few minutes ago. Wayne now works in artist management, and he's the National's Canadian manager. But nevertheless, this is their last album. Was the most electric of their albums. I love all their albums, but I had to pick this one. So, Cuff the Duke, Union, which no one has heard of. All right, where are we on comments here? Where did we finish? All right. I never liked Billy Joe Armstrong or Green Day because he always sounded like he's trying to imitate British punk singers. Yeah, I can see that. Doesn't bother me. I could get that. But it's really impressive the singing on Foreverly. Yeah, it's not what you would think of when you think of Billy Joe Armstrong, for sure. Good one, Chance. I assume that's talking about the one you just showed.
Charles, yeah.
Randall says his number 9 is You're Dreaming by the Cactus Blossoms. If you like Everly Brothers, you will like this. I'm not familiar with it, so I'll have to.
Randy got me into them. They're very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Wyoming Dave. Oh.
There's Dave. Dave changed his name to Wyoming Dave.
Yeah, I gave it because we on the live stream, and then David Bianco would be on there. He'd be on there. I was like, I can't call you guys Dave or David. You're Wyoming Dave. And
Wyoming Dave.
He's embraced it. More power to him. But guess what? Wyoming Dave, challenge accepted. If you got some VCLT in your future with Charles Bradley on, because you need to. It's a world changer.
Marshall likes changes in a sad way, I'm guessing. So
have any of you guys heard that song that Charles Bradley changes? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not one to say like, oh, you should really check this out. You should really check that one out because it's and I say that because Charles I think he had cancer at that time. That's what ultimately took his life, and so he was recording that knowing as highly possible is going to be his last album, and you can feel just like the sad. I mean, not even sadness. Like he was real close to his mother, and his mother had just passed away. So you can just feel, even just thinking about him in that like singing that song. It's just it's one of the best cover songs, like hands down. Like I Will Fight You. Like it is so good. It's amazing.
Trevor says being a Sabbath fan, he loves it more than the original.
I'm telling you guys, it's tremendous.
Leah says it's sad. Randall likes the pick. Chance had the best choice so far.
Checks in the mail, Malia. Checks in the mail.
Yeah,
just wait. We might see some Taylor Swift. So just hang on. I mean, I can almost guarantee it. Chance was wrecked for a whole weekend when he passed away.
It was such a bummer, man. We, again, not to belabor it, but like the last time we saw him perform, he was sick again. And we were trying to, like, I brought like my records for him to get signed. I had them in my bag. Like I carried his backpack I took the records out, but I had the records in my backpack all day. And we saw him perform. And then he always end the show. He'd come out and hug people in the crowd. And he would always like talk to you after the show and stuff. And we were at this festival and he greeted us. And we were able to take my son. So my son, I talked about him and stuff. And so my son got to get hugged by Charles on it, but he had to leave. He couldn't sign my stuff, which whatever. But, I was glad I got to expose my son to like such a great artist before, anyway.
Marcia says, hey, Trevor, he took the song that kept Volume 4 from being a perfect 10 and made it one of my all-time favorites. There you go. It's emotional. I like his debut, No Time for the Dreaming. I don't know it, so I can't comment it.
It's a good one.
Is it? I knew my man Brian would have some cuff to Randy, great one for sure. Victim of Love was tremendous too. Confused is one of my favorite tracks of his.
I almost probably, if I would have found Victim of Love, I honestly probably would have showed that one. Not because I dislike that album, but just it's so good. Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out.
All right. let's get on to what are we on? Number 8.
8.
Right. Okay. I chose the Black Angels. Love this cover. They're a neo-psych band from Austin, Texas. This is called Phosphine Dream. Their third record from, I'm going to forget the date, but anyway, fuzzed out psychedelia, some garage, some shoegaze. I love this album cover. And yeah,
cover.
It is trippy. I'll show you the inside. And there's
make it large here.
Oh, cool.
Booklet in here. Struggling. Anyways, a booklet in here. I mean, the song's cracking me up too because it starts with Bad Vibrations, which is funny. River of Blood is on here. The Sniper, Haunting at 1300 McKinley. Great album. Like if you like, I guess psychedelic is the word you'd use, but new stuff, right? So it sounds really great, really fuzzy. I think I like their first record maybe a little bit better, but that's obviously before 2010. And I think this is fantastic. This is 2010, by the way. 2010, their third record. So love the cover. They always have great covers too. And fantastic. They have a new one out, but I haven't listened to it yet. So that's what I chose.
All right, Chance, what you got for us?
Sounds cool.
All right. Well, everyone seemed to like that album, so I might as well, while I'm on a high, I might as well bring them down a little bit. This one's for you, Rob. Here we go. Boom, boom. 2020, baby.
Oh, boy.
Miley Cyrus and her quote-unquote rock album, Plastic Hearts. I mean, this one, I don't know if anyone's heard this, anyone on the dais, but, dude, this is so good. And you're going to laugh at me, but, like, this is one of those, it's very hard to have an album where all the songs are good. And this one doesn't hit that mark, but, like, 98% of their songs are good. The title track is great. She did the one song, Midnight Sky, which uses like the backing sound of Age of 17 by Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Phenomenal execution. Even the song that she wrote with Billy Idol, Nightcrawling, is, I mean, it's really good. And, I went into it, I like some of her other stuff. Like I like Bangers is a pretty good album for her. Even like some of her poppy stuff. But when I heard she was doing a rock album, I wasn't exactly sure how I'd feel about it. Even when I heard that lead single, Midnight Sky, I was like, oh, okay. So it sounds good, but she basically used the Stevie Nicks, bass line and everything from her own song. But man, when I heard this, like it was so good. Actually, I'm sorry, Edge of Midnight is the Stevie song, but it is, I would say, hands down her best work. I know she just put that new album out with flowers on it and stuff. It's not bad, but I think this is, to me, like probably her creative zenith so far. And take that, Rob.
Well, listen, I have to admit, she's got a hell of a singing voice. She really does.
She does. Well, I mean, and not to be like goofy about it, but like Dolly Parton is her godmother. You know what I mean? Like, so she's been around the industry as a child. All these child stars and stuff. There's always like disposable tales and all that stuff. But I mean, even though she's had her dalliances in the limelight, and what she was dating Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, and she's had different boyfriends, girlfriends, all that kind of stuff. Like the one thing that's always been level about her is like she understands her celebrity and understands like the creative part of this and really dig, because she could have made, to be honest with you, she could have been the next Britney. You know what I mean? And I say this in the sense of Disney star who is, started at an early age to basically be a superstar. And then Britney couldn't sing like this. She couldn't write songs like this. I mean, Britney's songs were written by a team of people, whereas Miley writes them with a team. I think there's a big difference with that. But anyway, really dig this one.
No, I'm with you. My sisters are big Miley fans, and I mean, I will say, because I mean, they grew up with Hannah Montana and all that stuff. But to me, I mean, I kind of have to look at it because I'm a big Monkees fan. I'm all for it. So it's kind of the same thing. She was a fake pop star on TV. She became a real one. And she can sing the phone book. And I'm sorry, Rob, I will take Miley Cyrus 1,000 times over Taylor Swift every day of the week.
Shot fired.
I'm gonna ignore that you said that so that we can still remain friends.
And Miley, I mean, her dad is the greatest country singer of all time. So
let me just clarify my stance on Miley Cyrus. I can't stand her. I think she's one of the most obnoxiously annoying humans on the face of the planet.
Woo! I should have brought my oven mitts, Rob. It's getting hot in here.
I mean that sincerely. However, I think she has a hell of a voice, and I do agree that I think her rock album is good. My wife made me download it. My hard drive felt dirty afterwards, but then I listened to it, and you know what? It's good. She's got a hell of a voice. So while I can't stand her because she annoys the shit out of me, damn it, she can sing. No, I will not argue that at all.
And she can entertain too. Like when
Yes.
she was doing the tour for that album, she did like I think it was the NCAA Final Four. I forget what city it was in, and I watched some of that, and I was like, oh, this is just going to be a puff performance. And like I mean, again, been groomed since she was a child to be a performer, but she knows she sings. A lot of these artists, like especially when there's like a lot of movement on stage, they'll lip sync parts and stuff. Like she sings it, and even if she's missing notes or whatever, she gives it her full performance effort, which I always appreciate.
All right, Sam.
Number 8, again, another one of those groups that I talk about as much as I can on my channel. I rarely get any feedback from him. I know our buddy Steve over at All the World's a Stage is one of the few people that actually knows who I'm talking about when I show this band. One of my favorite modern kind of alt country Americana bands, the Wild Feathers. This is their 3rd album called Greetings from the Neon Frontier from 2018. So it's crazy. It's already 5 years old, but they had 3 lead singers, Taylor Burns, Joel King, and Ricky Young. They all fronted their own kind of local bands and came together to form the Wild Feathers. And that's the drummer Ben Dumas. But no, they're just imagine the Eagles with some Tom Petty, with their own sound. I mean, they're based out of Nashville. Their 2nd album was a little bit too experimental. It was like they tried to go experimental too fast, and then realized we're a rock group, but we need to hone it back. Obviously, they're big fans of Dylan, the band, and that sort of thing. But I mean, they got 3 great harmony singers. Ricky here sings. Joel sings kind of with the Tom Petty nasally tone. Taylor has a really raspy, soulful voice, and then Ricky sounds kind of like more like a Glen Fry kind of mellow voice. But they can rock it. The opening track is just a barn burner called "Quitting Time." "Stand By Me" is a fantastic track, not the Oasis track, not the Benny King track. The beautiful ballad to the end of side A is called "Two Broken Hearts," a beautiful acoustic piece. But if you like Tom Petty, if you like the Eagles, the Wild Feathers should be right up your alley. So this is their 3rd record called Greetings from the Neon Frontier.
I had a feeling you'd show them, Sam.
Yeah, and I could have picked any of their albums because they've all come out since 2010.
Do they put their stuff on vinyl? Just curious.
They do, yeah. They put out a vinyl only album called Medium Rarities, where it was like a lot of B-sides and a few covers. Like they do Almost Cut My Hair by CSNY. But yeah, all their stuff's on vinyl. And actually, if anybody's interested, plug for a company I make no money for, New West Records, who they're currently on. They also have Steve Earle is on that record label, as well as like John Hyatt and groups like that. They have a huge 40 to 70% off sales. So you can buy their most recent album for like $12. The black wax and then also the color variant. They're both $12 right now. And CDs are like $7 if you want to try the CD first. But yeah, all their stuff's on vinyl, and they're a fantastic rock group.
Cool. So, all right. My next one is sorry, folks, another one that no one's heard of. Brian should recognize the surname here, though. This is a fantastic record by a guy named Dustin Bentall. Do you know the name, Brian?
Yeah, yes.
Bentall?
Yeah.
Of course. So Dustin is his father is a guy by the name of Barney Bentall. He had a band called Barney Bentall and the Legendary Hearts, who were big in Canada in the early 90s. Dustin is kind of like it's stoner rock and alt country sort of fused together. It's interesting stuff. This was actually it's called Orion, You Are an Island. It's 2 EPs, Orion and You Are an Island, put together on vinyl, and the tracks were reordered so that it makes a much more cohesive record. Fantastic. I know Dustin quite well. If Brian from Shamrock and Records is still watching, he's a big fan of Alan Doyle. His fiddle player, Kendall Carson, is actually the girl in the mermaid costume. She was the fiddle player on this record, good friend of mine. This is just a great sort of stoner rock, alt country fusion kind of thing. It's not his best album. His best album came out in 2009. It's called Six Shooter, but this is almost as good.
Noise.
Never heard of it.
So there we go. No, and most people wouldn't. It's pretty obscure, and I don't pick it to be obscure, but I absolutely love that record. So we get caught up on some comments here. We're gonna go all the way back here. Roy is saying Dylan has been singing "Trucking the Grateful Dead" song on his current tour in Paris. Interesting. JT is checking in while his son's at Taekwondo. That's cool. Dave has never heard of Cuff the Duke. That does not surprise me because no one outside of half of Canada has even heard of them. But I mean, they had a great career 10 years ago, but they've faded into the obscure past of Canadian music. So, JT, are you back stateside? Yeah, he was over in Asia or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's in Japan, I think Bangkok. I haven't watched his latest video. It's queued up in my
I saw it. It's in my queue of videos to watch. So he says, "Yep, good to be back." There we go.
I'm sure he's heading to Bills anytime now. He's got this honey hole that he's been straight robbing this guy. He's been getting records like for a song from this guy, and he just keeps going back and making videos and making everyone jealous.
Bill's Garage, yeah.
Brian says Randy picked a great one in Modern Blues by the Waterboys. Check out the song November Tale. Dave says I got people sick of calling me DVD. There we go. LOL. Brian, I have the 7-inch, the record store day 7-inch of Changes by Charles Bradley before the full length came out. What editing apps do you guys use? That's a good question because Chance and I were talking about this over email this week. Anyone want to answer that?
I answered it with iMovie. I think that's just what I use. And I know like people have iPhones, like Steve Carlson. I know does his videos on his iPhone and edits them. Which I don't know if I could do that, but
I use iMovie as well.
Do you?
What about you, Sam?
I don't edit. So
wow, wow, attaboy.
In truth, I try not to edit either. I like to have it one take, but you know,
I'm a big proponent of editing because I ramble, so I got to edit a lot of stuff out. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm a huge Adobe fan. So,
yeah, Music Talk with John says he uses Final Cut Pro. I don't know what that's. I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, it's very similar to Premiere Pro, just a slightly different interface, but quite similar. Trevor says highly suggest watching Charles' performance live at KEXP. It's on YouTube. Says I want to hear from Brian.
We all miss Brian.
Malia's using CapCut and it's a pain. I don't know CapCut. I'm not familiar with it.
Not familiar now.
Hi JT. Oh, here it comes. Miley Cyrus. Cool.
There we go. What's up?
There you go. I hope someone says that when I crack out the Taylor Swift in a little while.
This better happen.
I'll pay somebody to support me on this one. And she can sure twerk. There you go.
So can Chance.
That's right. That's right.
Well, he's wearing shorts, hopefully.
Optional.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
seems like her. Wow, we're too flat for that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Miley's ass. We can talk about Taylor's ass in a little while.
Oh, man.
No.
I'm happy to talk about that.
I'm sure.
Will we ever find stickers on albums so we can avoid buying auto-tuned and or pitch-corrected projects? I doubt it.
They will never tell you how the donuts are made. There's no way. Great idea, but
that's like that would be like KFC telling us what's in their original recipe.
they're not gonna tell us what the 11 herbs and spices are.
That's right. Randall, number 8, First Boy on the Moon. First Boy on the Moon. I don't know that one.
I don't know that either.
My hard drive felt dirty is the quote of the day. Yep. She gets an A for the album and the F for the twerking. There we go. Let's see here. Skipping right along.
There you
I
go.
had the Wild Feathers CD. Didn't they put out a live RSD years ago?
That's why I got up, Brian, because I was looking for it. And this was a grail of mine. It's the Wild Feathers Live at the Ryman. It's a 2-disc. It took me a long time to find a copy that wasn't expensive because it's out of print. But yeah, Live at the Ryman from Record Store Day.
Nice.
Brian says he loves Kendall. That's the mermaid on the last album. Yes, she's awesome. Probably the best fiddle player in Canada and an absolute sweetheart. Canadian music is for hosers. And you like Billy Joel, so, no way. I almost met up with Roy Good in Thailand. He lives 30 minutes from our home in a place I can't pronounce.
We better not try to pronounce that. We get set off an international incident, Rob.
That's right.
Once I saw the word bang in there, like, leave it alone. Stop.
Final cut. iMovie. I'm lo-fi, no editing at Shamrockin'. Yeah, but you got the personality to carry it, Brian, so it's all good, man. I usually don't edit because these 2 videos I'm about to post, I have to. Too much music, don't want to get striked. Yeah, that's a wise thing. John from Music Talk with John can tell you all about getting struck.
Right, he's been in the YouTube naughty plane.
Yep, exactly. All the proof you need is us to see them in concert.
They're right. That's right.
Cardboard Head Guy says McCartney 3.
Yes, it was.
That was a lot of folks like that.
Good.
All right, let's move it along on our list here. We're Brian, you're up.
Is this number 8? I guess. So,
I don't know.
all right. I chose what is possibly the saddest record in my collection, which is Ghosteen by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which I think is their 17th record. And in fact, you don't even have to listen to the lyrics to know that this is sad. Like, the music is sad because it was written after the death of his son. And it is really a challenging listen, but worthwhile. In fact, I put this on and have been asked to take it off because it just exudes sadness through the whole experience. So it is really a trying listen, but I think it's kind of masterful ambient electronic, I guess maybe you'd call it, and really 2019, by the way. And look at the amazing cover too. I really like the cover on this. But I think this is fantastic, but very, very sad for certain moods.
All right, let's move this.
All right, Chance, you're up.
All right. So let me take this out of the sleeve. Again, I don't want Mazzy to be upset with us. All right. So are any of you fellas familiar with Royal Blood?
No.
What?
Nope.
So Royal Blood, they're a 2-piece band out of Worthing, England. So think about like the White Stripes kind of or Black Keys kind of, situation where you've got someone either on guitar, like bass guitar, like Mike in this band is on bass guitar, and then you have a drummer. Ben is the drummer in this band. And I think it was probably about 8 years ago. They're kind of topic du jour because they were opening for like Foo Fighters. Like they were opening like stadiums, like just out of nowhere. I saw them at a club gig that like sold out like insanely quick. And my wife actually got me tickets, secondary market, so we didn't pay for them. But anyway, a really great band. They are like, I wouldn't say high energy, just really good rhythm, really good rock songs. This is their second album, How Did We Get So Dark? First album, self-titled. The first 2 albums, this one and self-titled, very similar sound. But their latest album is called Typhoons, and they put some more electronica kind of into their sound, which I can appreciate a band like evolving. I'm okay with it. I know my son really loved like these first 2 albums and was very disappointed that they kind of went to this more dance type of sound a little bit. So I'll be curious to see what they do on the upcoming album. But this album, I mean, the title track is amazing. How Do We Get So Dark? I Only Lie When I Love You. Like just straight to the point. No, I'm serious. Like just straight to the point songs, hook, line, and sinker. And for just being a 2-piece, like they just really rip hard. Like it's just really good rock music. So Royal Blood, get you some. Oh, and this is autographed. Clearly, I didn't, start scribbling on it or anything.
All right, Sam, what do you got?
Number 7 for me, again, people that follow my channel, this is no surprise. I talk about this a lot. And actually, just a few days ago, sometime last week, this celebrated its 5th anniversary. It was this gentleman's last album, The Tree of Forgiveness by John Prine. Absolute masterpiece from 2018. Of course, he would die 2 years later due to COVID complications, which still stings. Him and Tom Petty are probably 1 and 2 for celebrity deaths that hurt me the most. Fantastic song. It's got the John Prine humor on it with a song like Egg and Daughter Night, Lincoln, Nebraska, and then a more political song called Caravan of Fools. He does one song about Pluto, losing its planetary title called Lonesome Friends of Science. And then there's some collaborations on here. There are some co-writes with Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys. Jason Isbell is on here. Brandy Carlisle sings backing vocals. Pat McLaughlin has a couple of tracks that he co-wrote with John. And then, of course, a few John Prine solo songs. The last track is a track fittingly titled When I Get to Heaven, which is just about John Prine talking about he's going to get up to heaven and smoke a cigarette 9 miles long and, talk about what he's going to drink, hanging out with the girls, flirting and that sort of thing. Just talking about, all the vices that he had to stop on earth to, he's going to do it in heaven. And fortunately, I was able to see John Prine one of his last 6 or 7 shows that he ever put out. And he closed the one of the songs that he closed with was When I Get to Heaven before the encore. So just an absolutely fantastic record. It's John Prine, still at the top of his game, still had a lot to give. So it's unfortunate that we lost him when we did, but I'm glad this was the final stone in his kind of pathway, his career. So Tree of Forgiveness from 2018.
Nice.
I knew that would make an appearance too.
Yeah. It's a top.
You and I have done enough of these, Sam. I could pick some of yours.
It's mutual. Yeah, it's mutual.
On that subject, Sam, what's a band I talk about all the time?
Spice Girls.
No. Well, I do, but that's not the one.
Right. Some of one of those cowboy rodeo groups.
Yeah. So,
oh, here we go.
Brian knows this one.
Yeah, of course.
A Canadian musical institution. Blue Radio's 1,000 Arms from 2016. I like this album for a few reasons. I've lamented before. They have 18 albums over 40 years-ish. And the beginning of their career, the first half is, and I think Brian would probably agree, much, much stronger than the second half of their career. But this record almost sort of felt like a renaissance to me. It felt like their earlier stuff when they were absolutely at their peak. So I love it from that perspective. And I also love it because my good friend Bob Egan, who played with them for almost 20 years, and before that he was with Wilco, this was his last record that he played on before he retired. And there's a very good chance that my Fender Telecaster is on this record, because I loaned one of my Telecasters to Bob when they were recording this, and he took it to the studio and he goes, I played it in the studio, but I don't know if that take made the album. So there's a chance that my 72 Deluxe is on this record, but it's just it's modern Blue Rodeo, but it sounds like classic Blue Rodeo. So good country rock, their strongest of the latter half of their career.
Cool.
Comments. Where are we here? John likes my Billy Joel comment because I'm a 40-year-old Swiftie. Guilty.
Sounds like envy. Sounds like envy on that.
I know it does, doesn't it? He's jealous.
That's classic John.
Brian says he's got to get some sleep. He's working early. He hopes to see some Avett, some Isabel, Gaslight Anthem, Dawes, and so on and so on. And
I told him, hang in. I'm going to move my. I've got one of those bands, so
I have one of those too.
I have one of those as well.
Right, Brian, how about we show him in this round so we can gotta give the people what they want.
I'll say, Brian, there's also another band that I've got next that I know for sure gonna love.
Brian's already gone to sleep, so
he's sticking around. I'll see it. He's down here.
What else we got here? He said hang in for 5 more minutes. Randall, number 7, Sermon on the Rocks by Josh Ritter.
I like Josh.
Brian's still hanging around. Okay, why don't we get in there right now? We'll stick around this round, Brian. We'll all show the one you want to see.
There we go. Got to give the people what they want. The OJs.
All right, other Brian, you're up then.
I'm up. All right.
You're
I chose Beach House, Depression Cherry. This is a dream pop duo from Baltimore. Now, I actually wasn't sure which one to show because they have at least three records I could have, maybe more that I could have chosen, but I went with this one. If you don't know them, they're, I guess, a bit of shoegaze, a bit of organ. They have some fuzzy guitars, and the vocals are really serene and atmospheric. It's just a duo, right? So it's Victoria Legrand and Alex Scally. So they put this sort of atmospheric, serene sounding music, and I think it's really great. But yeah, they have their last three records also were fantastic, but this one I chose from 2015, which I think is great.
All right. Make chance big here.
On demand, Brian. I got you. All right. So I just saw these guys last week, so it's a lot real fresh in my memory. But this is Dawes. This is their third album, All Your Favorite Bands. This is like 2015, and I enjoy most of the first song, Things Happen. They play in pretty much every set. That's backwards. It doesn't even make sense there. But my favorite part of this album is the closing track. Not on this album, but it's the one that they play to close pretty much every show I've seen them since they put this out. It's literally the title track, All Your Favorite Bands. And it has like the chorus is one of my favorites. It says, I hope that life without a chaperone is what you thought it'd be. I hope your brother's El Camino runs forever. I hope the world sees the same person that you always were to me, and may all your favorite bands stay together. Fantastic. Like that is like Taylor Goldsmith, amazing songwriting. He's one of my favorite like songwriters because he uses words that not a lot of people use. Like I'm assuming he read a dictionary like every day as a child because like he just comes up with like a lot of like analogies and allegories and all that kind of like like smart guy stuff, right? And I'm just like they played a song in the set that they're working on with their keyboardist Lee Pardini, and it's called What It Takes, and it's like a vaporwave type track as Lee did like an EP of his own keyboard stuff, and then he asked Taylor to like come write some lyrics on it and let's see what we can workshop this into, and it's like so good. And it's a song about because they're an LA band, and when they broke in 2000, they sounded like critics would always say they had the Laurel Canyon sound. They're like a throwback type band, right? But this What It Takes song, it's not even on an album yet because they're still workshopping, but they're playing it live and trying to get the rhythm to it. But it's just a song about growing up in LA, and he uses this line about like not like teeth like billboards or something. And I was just like, that's just really smart. Like I would have never thought to like put that together. Anyway, so Dawes, one of my favorites.
All right, Sam, what do you got?
Was it 6? Number 6 for me from 2013. So 10 years. Wow, 10 years old this year. This is again, Brian down in the comments is going to love this too, because he was one of the early fellows to watch my videos to actually comment on this band. That would be the Avett Brothers, which I mistakenly left off my list from last week of favorite songs up until 2009 or 2010, 2009. This is possibly my favorite Avett Brothers album of all. It's a close tie between this and I Am Loving You. I Am Loving You just creeps up on it, I think, but this has some bigger hits. Well, some live staples, I should say, for them. Morning Song is a big Avett Brothers tune. Another is Waiting. Good to You is great. Skin and Bones, Souls Like the Wheels, which originally appeared on an EP of theirs called The Gleam 2. And then a beautiful song at the end called The Clearness Is Gone. This is the 4th album produced by Rick Rubin. So it's on the American record label. Absolutely just killer. It's got elements. It's got some, obviously the Avett Brothers sounds, so it's folky sounds, but also a little bit of rock. Clearness Is Gone is a great electric guitar played by Seth Avett. And I know John was mentioning Benmont Tench. Benmont Tench he's on this record, I believe. Yeah, because I think because Rick Rubin, that's one of his go-to session guys. Benmont tent. So he's on a couple of tracks. So Magpie and the Dandelion, I should say. Sorry, that's the name of the record from 2013 by the Avett Brothers.
Talking about those sales earlier, I know Walmart had what's the album, the Gleam or Glean?
Yeah, there's three of them. That's their EP series.
Yeah, they had like one of those for like $10. I mean, I wasn't familiar with it, so I didn't pick it up. But I mean, they're literally blowing these things out all over the place.
I need to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I mention record collecting is expensive in Canada? And for those interested in that topic, check out past Monday's episode of the Vinyl Communities podcast.
Yeah.
Send the money that you saved to Rob. Yeah.
We're gonna dig a tunnel under the Minnesota-Canada border, and we're gonna run like we're gonna like use those freight cars and just load up records and just roll them under the border. You guys got nothing to worry about. They'll come out in like Winnipeg or something.
Yeah, sure. That's only like 1,000 kilometers away. So
details, schmetails.
Exactly. So for Brian, I'm going to show some Dawes as well, and I'm going to show Nothing Is Wrong.
Oh,
My
yeah.
favorite Dawes record.
Second album, yeah, love it.
I love it. From when was that? 2010, 2011. I love this. I love everything on this. Time spent in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
If I Wanted Someone, $1 Million Bill. How Far We've Come. I mean, everything on here. It's just awesome. And you're right. It is that Laurel Canyon sound. So
yeah.
Love it. This is an original first press. And then I've got the anniversary edition. That's the jacket's white and it's white vinyl.
Mm-hmm. So. Did you get the one that came on this? I think it had 7-inch too, right?
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Yep.
I got a bunch of other Dawes records and they're all, this is the only one I have that isn't signed. All the rest of mine are signed. So
did you meet them and sign it, or did you buy them post?
Bought them off their web store. So
nice.
I don't like Misadventures of Doom Scroller.
Yeah, that one's been hard for me to kind of. I like the song. I think it's the lead single about like waiting tables at someone else's restaurant. I don't know the name of it, but it just hasn't grabbed me. Like
hard to get into.
Yeah. Like Passwords really was good. Good Luck with Whatever was good.
I love that.
But yeah, this Doom Scroller is just not really. That's why I was excited to hear this What It Takes song, because again, and I'm not like a big vaporwave guy, but it was just like different, but it still had like their spirit, it still had their ethos on it, and I was like, cool. I really like if you're gonna do a directional change coming off a like so commercially received album, like go for it.
Yeah. All right. So comments here. Hopefully Brian's still with us. He said when he was managing Bull Moose, he had a customer come in from Canada that made him 20 Blue Rodeo bootlegs. That's cool. I have a ton of Blue Rodeo bootleg stuff. It's maybe like I had connections in the band or something. Hit that like button, folks. JT's asking, is that a 72 Canadian Deluxe? Well, it's a 72 Deluxe that I made. The body and the neck are from Warmouth. I bought them unfinished and I finished them. I can see it. It's that black one right there hanging on my wall. Right there. So, John wants to know, did anyone pick the Benmont Trench album from 2014?
Well, we couldn't tell you that, John, but I'd probably be the only one that would do it, and I did not. So.
Is that the same one, John, that you just showed recently, your Grabs video? Because I wasn't familiar, and I even said that's something I want to put in my stream.
You should be so lucky is what it's called. Blue Note put it out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty good album.
Randall says, I've had Brian's last 2 records, which is good. I like the Dawes pick too.
Great take.
Good. Randall's number 6.
Yeah, this one was a hard omission because like I'm late to the Jason Isbell party, but man, that was the first album. I think Brandon actually, if he's still on, was just espousing its virtues, and I'm like, I found a used copy, and I was like, man, so I just put it on one day, and I was like, wow, this is like, you hear an album for the first time, and you're like, wow, was not expecting this to be so good. Even if people have like said it's good, you're still like, oh, okay. It's like if you go to a restaurant, right? And somebody's like, oh, this restaurant is so great. And then you go and you're like, it's kind of underwhelming. Like, same thing with music. Like, I'll try something, right? But I go in with low expectations. And that album just smoked me. I couldn't believe it. I actually played it again. I was like, wow, did I really just hear what I heard? It was amazing.
Yeah, my buddy Tommy at Tommy's Musical Adventures. I'm not a Jason Isbell fan, but he said you've got to listen to this. You got to listen to it, and I listened to it. And it is quite good. I bought the CD copy not too long ago.
Brian says he loves Dawes. They had his daughter's pick on their website years ago. It was her with the band when she was 5. That's cool. There you go, Dawes. Kelly, those boys can rock. Absolutely.
Taylor is a really good guitar player. I'm really surprised at how great he is at guitar.
This is going to sound like a silly question, but you're a big Dawes fan, as am I. Have you, and for anyone that hang on till I ask the question before anybody laughs, have you listened to Mandy Moore's last album?
I know. I no, I haven't. This is a short.
And here's the reason I ask folks that don't listen. Mandy Moore, though you may think of her as a teen singer from 20 years ago, she's married to Taylor Goldsmith from Dawes, and Dawes is now her backing band. So that's who tours with her, and they recorded on her album. I was just intrigued to hear what the album sounded like. Not a Mandy Moore fan, but I like Taylor Goldsmith.
Yeah, I had heard that. Like, I mean, obviously it goes without saying, you know, obviously she was married to Ryan Adams before. So and not to drop a dime on him, but when I saw the band last week, he had a very Ryan Adams-esque. Like that's why I told my wife his hair was like kind of puffy, and I'm like, who does that look like?
They look a little scruffy, both of them.
Yeah, so I mean, she definitely has a type, but yeah, I had heard that, you know, obviously her last album there was a lot of collaboration with Dawes, so very curious. That is something I'd like to dip my toe in on a streamer.
Right, same here.
Yeah, that's most people's favorite, Brian.
Yeah,
but is your favorite, Sam?
Yeah, it's my favorite full-on album by them. Yeah, as a collective.
Yes, so good.
Yes, absolutely. Dawes did my favorite Warren Zevon song in Letterman's last shows, Desperados Under the Eaves. Yep.
Yeah, because Letterman was a big him and Zevon were good friends.
Yep.
Yeah, Glen 3. That's essentially a full album. It's like 8 tracks. It's not really an EP.
Emotionalism is my favorite by the Avett Brothers. I like The Carpenter. That's my favorite.
That's the one. That was The Carpenter came between I Am Loving You and then the one that I showed. Emotionalism was their first with Rick Rubin.
Great pick on Dawes. Brandon's still with us. Right on. Sam, have you heard Watching the River Flow from the upcoming Dylan release?
Yeah, it's obviously that was a track from his second greatest hits back in the 70s. And yeah, for those that don't know, Dylan has it's not a new album per se. It's the soundtrack to a kind of noir type concert film that he did a couple of years ago. It's all of his old songs that he's re-recorded. It's really good. Really, really good.
Ryan says Nothing Is Wrong by Dawes is his favorite. Awesome. Doom Scroller's great. Yeah, I got to give it another chance. I just
listened to it twice, and it's I need to like be focused because Someone Else's Cafe, I think, is the name of that song I was trying to kind of. Yeah, it's got to say, you know, it's great storytelling. It's right in their wheelhouse, but some of the other songs I was kind of like.
I think it was for me. I think the album was a little too dreamy and ethereal, or just sort of too. I don't know. It was a little. I don't know. Just experimental is not the word, but I guess that was my detraction from it. Brandon says Randall Nelson, Southeastern is in my top 5 for sure. Brian agrees. Cardboard Head Guy asks, did we hear about the new Paul Simon album?
Yep. It's called 7 Psalms, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Taylor shows off his guitar playing. That's true.
He's got a great tone, and he's really crisp. I mean, he's a really solid player.
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, Rob, I know this is going to be sensitive, but I sent a link in the private chat for the Walmart $10. Can you post that in the overall chat? Because since I'm not a mod, I can't.
I'm looking at it now.
To share it with people because it's literally free shipping and it's $10.
It's $10, man. I'm gonna buy that probably now.
It's in my cart, but I just bought I bought a Coltrane album from them this week. I bought a Tina Turner record. I mean, $10 in a ship.
No, the song Untitled number 4 and Women Like You is that's worth the price of admission.
Have I mentioned how expensive record collecting is in Canada?
I know.
Check out this week's Violent Community podcast.
So true.
All right. We're what I don't know what number we're on, but
I think
we
it's
got,
5.
like, 5. All right. Let's see
Do
how quick we can.
you want to go
Let's do
faster?
this.
Yeah, we'll do lightning round.
Do the lightning
Father,
round.
yeah, Father John Misty. This is called Fear Fun. His first record is Father John Misty. If you know him, you might know that he used to be known as Jay Tillman. He did like I think 8 records, very folky, very quiet music, and then he was briefly into Fleet Foxes, and then he went to this new name, Father John Misty, and I think he's got 5 or 6 records now, and I think this is fantastic. This is really great. The guy's very wordy because in here there's 2 inserts that are just full of. It's like a book almost, really, just filled with. He has a lot to say. But this record is really fantastic. I really like it. Many people would choose I Love You, Honey Bear, but I think this is better. This is his first one. I Love You, Honey Bear is the second one. But there's just so many good songs on here. And the videos are kind of cool, too. So this is fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
All right, lightning round. I'm up next. So I really enjoy this. This was the debut album from the Haim sisters.
Love it.
It's a great album. I mean, start to finish. You know, they always say like the first, and the younger laters, right? They always say your first album, you spent your lifetime writing it and waiting to release it. And I think that's true because I hate to say it, but I think this is their best output. I think they're on 3 or 4 albums now. I mean, just everything about it. The songwriting is real crisp, poppy, but also smart, catchy hooks. I know that they've been on record a thing like Stevie Nicks is a big influence for them and so forth. But I mean, just I think, and again, I know like it's hard to find those records that are start to finish like great songs. This one's pretty close. This is another one that's really good because If I Could Change Your Mind is a really good like. I don't know, like Robbie describes like a dance song. I don't know. I mean, because it's got a good rhythm to it, right?
Yeah.
You know, The Wire, I think was like one of the things, Falling. Just a really good album, start to finish. I wish their subsequent outputs were on this level, but to me, this is like the best thing that they've put out so far. I have the other albums too, but this is like my favorite of their work.
The one that got me hooked. What's that video where they're walking down the street? Is that Want You Back?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what the second album.
I think so. Yeah.
Think so. That's what got me in, and I like. I don't own them. I have them digitally, but good records.
And Father John Misty is actually playing tonight in my town. Like he's playing right now.
You should be there.
You need to go.
I know. I don't know. I don't know anything about.
He doesn't go to the opener, so he'll be there later.
I've got so many concerts coming. I can't do it more.
Me too.
Yes. So whatever this is from 2011, this is a band again that I really got into during COVID, partly because the main songwriter / bass player Adam Schlesinger passed away. This is Fountains of Wayne, and their last album called Sky Full of Holes from 2011. And it's my favorite Fountains of Wayne record by far. I know their big one is Welcome Interstate Managers, which had Stacey's Mom and Hackensack on it. But this one is like, it's power pop. It's got some kind of a couple of country type tunes almost, with a song called Firelight Waltz, and then a road song, which is just about life on the road. The best song on here is called A Dip in the Ocean. It's just a killer power pop track, just catchy hooks all throughout it. It's very Beatley. Again, it's not an acoustic record, but it has probably a little bit more acoustic guitar than Fountains of Wayne usually does. I know some of their early albums are a little bit more crunchy, a little bit more alternative, and then they kind of moved into more power pop later on. But this is my favorite Fountains of Wayne record. It can be kind of hard to find, but it was on Yep Rock Records, which a lot of our favorites have moved to. I know Nick Lowe is currently on Yep Rock. I believe. No, he's on Sub Pop, but yeah, I mean Fountains of Wayne. To me, this is their best album. It's unfortunate that they couldn't put out a few more albums before Adam passed away, and that him and Chris Collingwood couldn't get their differences, laid to rest. But fantastic record, Sky Full of Holes by Fountains of Wayne.
Good one.
So,
yeah, it's a real shame. Sorry to cut you off there, but it's a real shame that it's only since he passed I've heard more about his songwriting prowess.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, apparently, like he was like helping he wrote some other hits for other people and he's collaborated with. So like, I had no idea. Sorry, Rob.
It's all good. All right. So mine is a band I talk about a lot on my channel that I think they're just they're incredible. It's a band called White Horse from Toronto.
Oh.
It's a husband and wife. This is Melissa McClellan. This is her husband, Luke Doucette. They are in Sarah McLachlan's band and have been for 25 years. Had their own solo careers and then joined forces to start White Horse about 12 years ago. This is their second album from 2012. It's called The Fate of the World Depends on This Kiss. Every one of their albums changes genres. This is sort of an adult contemporary rock sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's great. Melissa has an incredible voice. I've said before that I think Luke is the greatest guitar player in Canada right now. I firmly believe that. He plays a Gretsch White Falcon. That's his signature. When you hear him play, it's undeniably him if you're familiar with his music. So, White Horse, which no one's heard of except for maybe Brian.
I've heard of them. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to roll through the
let's
go through the chats?
Roll. There isn't a lot of comments right now, so let's keep going. You're up, Brian.
All right. I chose Spoon. This is called, it's hard to see. I left the shrink runs. Transference from 2010, actually. And this is like a post-punk revival band. I guess that's what you call them. Anyway, in Canada, of course, everyone confuses this band with the Spoons, an old new wave band. So I have to say, no, Spoon, not the Spoons. But all I'll say is really great. Even their last record that came out last year, I think I put it on my top 10 list from last year. I thought it was so good. Every record they've done, I think is fantastic. So there's some really great songs on here. The Mystery Zone, Got Nothing, Written in Reverse, all great. I think it's fantastic. And I feel bad because I have no Canadian music in my my list at all.
Traitor, come on.
I made up for it. I got too much. So.
Yeah. All right, I'll burn one of my locals. So this is a band called Greek Fire. This is their album, Deus e Machina. That they're a St. Louis band. The quick backstory is this band is a side project by a couple of guys in Story of the Year. The lead singer is a guy named Phil Sneed. Moon is kind of his stage name. He was the bass player in Story of the Year, and then he was joined in this band by a guy named Ryan Phillips, who's the guitar player for Story of the Year. Is really proficient guitar player. Anyway, this was an album they put out locally. I don't even think they're even signed to a major label. They just kind of self-produce and self-release things. But what's interesting, and one of the reasons I wanted to show this, great songs. I mean, Down in Mexico off this album is like one of my favorite like running songs. It's kind of like they have keyboards. They have like a lot of they have heavy guitars, keyboards, really like uplifting messaging in the music and the lyrics. Side note, since we don't have a lot, and this is a little scandalous here in Missouri, the former governor, disgraced governor Eric Greitens, was forced to resign from office. But a side note is he was having an affair with one of these guys' wives, and the husband dropped a dime. Yeah, because it was his the governor's hairstylist. And apparently there's some naughty hanky-panky stuff. So anyway, there's more to it. And I could, be more specific about it, but it is an interesting side note that the lead singer was involved in all that. So,
wow,
scandal. Right. See, you're gonna get some scandal in tonight's.
That's the next podcast, Chance. Again, not a big surprise for me. This album, I've talked about it a million times on my channel. But I mean, I'm also assuming everybody here is on my channel. Subscribe, Sam St. John. This is the first album by one of my favorite folk indie groups, The Head and the Heart. It's self-titled. To me, just about an absolute perfect album from 2011. Tomorrow, I'm hoping I'm going to be buying tickets to see them for the second time in less than a year. So fingers crossed for that. But I mean, their biggest song is on here called Rivers and Roads. Another big one was Down in the Valley. Both of which have appeared in numerous types of, rom-com indie movies around that time. But there's some great, stomp clap kind of songs. Great harmonies. They're a 6-piece band. The lead singer is actually out of Richmond, Virginia, but they're a band based out of Seattle, Washington. So I know who is it? I remember I told Mazzy about it. He hadn't heard about him. But again, I know JT. JT's a fan of him in the comments, but just a fantastic, again, indie pop, indie folk band. I love this record. I listened to it at the exact time of my life that I needed to hear it, and I think that's why it sticks with me. It's will always be my favorite album by theirs. So, self-titled by Head and Heart.
I just recently tracked down an original pressing of that. I was really happy because I know they've reissued it, but it's like,
yeah, just recently they did. Yep. All right, Rob. All right, Rob.
Rob, come back from the Shadow Realm. Where are you? I see you stroking your beard like a Bond villain.
There he is. He is a Bond villain.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You guys there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're having a good old time. Where you been?
Got some flaky internet connectivity issues.
Uh-oh. I think it's because your computer knows what you're about to
take a
unleash on the
bathroom
world.
break,
You're up, Rob.
Yeah, can you hear
Yeah,
me
we
now?
can see you're moving. Yeah,
You're good.
Yep.
You're good.
You're
All
back
right.
from the Shadow Realm.
I don't know why my internet now decides to be flaky, but whatever. So, you guys still hear me? All right, we're good.
Yes,
You're
sir.
good? All right. I'm not unleashing what you think yet, Chance.
Oh,
Okay.
Matt Mays,
Wow.
Coyote. Matt Mays is Steve from All the World's a Stage calls this the Canadian Tom Petty. Maybe. But he's a great rocker. I think he makes some of the best rock and roll in this country. This is his Juno Award-winning album for Rock of the Year from 2012 called Coyote. Just a fantastic, fantastic rock record. Should we do the couple comments and then maybe everyone could do their top three like quick because I don't want to.
Sure.
We're coming up on 2 hours and I don't want to, everyone will getting bored of listening to us yak already. So, all right. So Brian checked out and he said, good luck with Record Store Day this weekend. Randall said, I saw Father John Misty open for Alabama Shakes.
yeah, that's when I saw him too. Yeah.
Oops, hold on. Randall's number 5 was X, Alphabet Land. And his number 4, Chicka Boom by Tammy Nielsen. Great Australian artist. Not familiar with that. Here's someone that knows Coyote. Fantastic. Right on. All right. Brian, you want to do your top 3?
Sure. Number 3, Bob Mould, Silver Age. Everybody knows Bob Mould from Husker Du, Sugar. This is what you'd expect from a driving melodic guitar music. In fact, when this came out, he toured. When he toured, he played the entire Copper Blue record because it was the 20th anniversary. So this is like, if you know Sugar, this is as closest to Sugar I think he's gotten in his solo career. Number 2, moving this quickly, National, High Violet. Trouble Will Find Me I think is great, but I actually think High Violet is a little bit better. This is earlier, 2010. This is a fantastic record. Such great songs in here. I'm a big fan. So Terrible Love, Sorrow, Blood Buzz, Ohio. And number 1 is the first David Bowie record in 10 years. I chose this because I know Black Star would be the sentimental favorite, but I find that a difficult record to listen to. And this one is sort of an uplifting record for me because, it'd been 10 years since his last record, Reality, and this came out kind of a surprise. All the musicians were asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement so they wouldn't let anybody know he was making a record, and this came out, and I think it's really excellent. I think this is full of great classic Bowie songs, and it probably doesn't get as much love as it maybe needs. I think this is as good as anything he's done up until this time. So there we go, top 3.
Nice choice. All right, so let's see, where should I start? So this one barely made the cut, and I mean barely because of the age, and I won't even take it out of this. This is one of Rob's favorite. I know it may even be on his top 3, but man, I mean, Rob, you and I have talked about this. Like, this is a terrific live band, Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. This was my indoctrination into this band, and I saw them a couple times. I saw them at Lollapalooza and Bonnaroo in the same year. I think it was 2011. This album came out 2010, so it's cut off, let's call it. Man, so many heaters on this album. Love it. And these aren't in like, I'm not rank them like 1, but 2011, one of my all-time favorites, not even just in the last 13 years, but this is arguably the best Foo Fighters album, Wasting Light. The backstory is they got the actual soundboard from Sound City when they closed that studio down and recorded this in Dave's home studio. And this is, I've alluded to it a couple times. It's so hard to have an album start to finish that is fantastic, but this is one of those that for me hits the marks because every single song on here is great. And it's literally, if they would play this start to finish in every single concert, like I'd be fine with that because this is just phenomenal output. And then ended on a high note, and it's a high dollar note, but I've got a flex. I've got a nice copy of Watch the Throne from Kanye and Jay-Z in the embossed cover.
Wow.
Now these are picture discs, so the sound quality from what I've heard is not great. I haven't opened mine because it's kind of like a stock piece, but I mean, just this is another one that I wouldn't say this is like start to finish perfect album, but you'll never have like two guys at the height of their powers from Jay-Z and Kanye collaborating. I mean, obviously, Paris is obviously the most famous song. I mean, that's like a song that they'll probably be talking about like on Space Station like 200 years from now, in my opinion. But this is arguably probably one of the top. This is like on the Mount Rushmore of hip hop albums, if you ask me, because this one is just, you'll never have two guys at the height of their powers collaborate. And because obviously after that, Kanye got with Kim Kardashian and like she basically took his superpowers, and Jay-Z and Beyonce want nothing to do with him anymore. So like this will never happen again. But at a moment in time, this was like the best hip hop album in the last 20 years, I'll call it.
Of course, the greatest rapper of all time is Ed Sheeran, as we all know.
I was going to vote for Vanilla Ice, but
yeah, right.
Right.
All right, Sam, lay it on us.
The big three. Again, I don't know if it'll be a surprise in terms of the ranking, but here we go. Our friend Glen just talked about this album in his most recent Now Spinning series. It's an album I got him into called Way Out West by Marty Stewart and his Fabulous Superlatives from 2017. It's produced by Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So it's got a very petty sound to it. It's also very birdsy, also maybe a little bit of like Bakersfield, Buck Owens as well. But it's not a straight up country album. I know a lot of people look at Marty Stewart like, oh, he's just that guy from the 80s who wore the tight jeans. But if you watch him now and what he does, I mean, he plays Clarence White's guitar from the Byrds. I mean, Clarence White's wife sold it to Marty Stewart, the B Bender guitar, and so that in itself is credibility in my book. But again, Campbell's all over this record as well. Again, very jangly, kind of some psychedelia to it a little bit. Kind of a concept album. It's got a few instrumentals, like it goes from like surf rock to some like flamenco style, but then also again the jangle, birdsy Tom Petty sound to it. It's just an all around perfect record, and it made my 100 favorite albums list as well. So Way Out West by Marty Stewart is number 3. Number 2 from 2016, the album that got me into this group, and still say it's my favorite album by them. That would be the Monkees and their album Good Times, again from 2016, produced by Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne.
There you go.
Who also co-wrote a ton of the tracks on here. He plays bass, keyboards, does backing vocals on a lot of the tracks. Of course, at this point, you still had Mike and Peter still living.
Mm-hmm.
Davey had since passed by this point, so they use an old track with some new instrumentation for a Davy Jones song called Love to Love. It's a Neil Diamond song. But they had collaborations from Noel Gallagher, Rivers Cuomo, Andy Partridge. And then there's a couple of Nez tunes, a Carole King song from back in the day called Wasn't Born to Follow, which the Byrds covered on the Easy Rider soundtrack. So it's just a great mix. It's got my favorite Monkey song on here called Me and Magdalena, written by Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie. So just a really fun summer pop record. Good times. Absolutely love it. And then number 1 for all of the guys out there that know that I love this artist, especially Steve at All the World's a Stage, especially Glenn Kelly from the Basement, my man, and Taylor Swift at one point, John Mayer in his album Born and Raised, his masterpiece, his greatest album by a long shot to me. It's in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. Again, I've said it a million times. It's his Laurel Canyon album. He's got Graham Nash and David Crosby sing on the title track. He was listening to a lot of Joni and Neil Young and Bob Dylan while putting this record out.
Was he living in Montana at the time? Is this that album?
This was his first album after the big Jessica Simpson controversy that came out. It was his apology. I mean, one of the songs on here is called Shadow Days, which is kind of his apology song. Because he went a few years without, doing anything. He moved to Montana, got out of LA, cleaned up, put out this album, and then shortly thereafter put out almost an equally excellent record called Paradise Valley. But yeah, I mean, born and raised, if you like Laurel Canyon music, you have to listen to this album. Erase John Mayer's name. And I mean, whatever you think about John Mayer, the dude can write a song, the dude can play. And so Born and Raised from 2014 is number 1.
Good pick, Sam.
All right, bring us home, Rob.
All right.
This is like that cold sore. It won't go away because it's going to be there. Go ahead.
All right. Anyone want to give me a bit of a drum roll here?
I guess.
Number 3. There she is.
Oh, God.
Oh, Willie Nelson.
Great.
Oh, my God.
And for those that have seen me joke in the past, I'm not joking. I'm being sincere. I am a Swiftie. This is Nevermore from 2020. She recorded 4 albums in isolation during the pandemic. This was the second of, Folklore and Evermore were her sort of moody acoustic albums. I love all of her records, but I like this one the most, actually. I mean, Folklore was the one that came first. This is, I think the songs are just a little more polished on this, a little more, thematically, I liked them a little bit more. The National's on here, Haim's on here, Bon Iver's on here, Justin Vernon. I won't elaborate anymore because no one else likes Taylor Swift except for me, and that's too damn bad.
My kids like them. Might like her, sorry.
Right. Then I'm 45 and your kids or whatever.
Hey, Rob, lock the doors tonight. Louis
But as
Golden's
I
on
said,
his way to steal your Jaguar.
There you go. It's Jazz Master, but you can good luck. I'm about to show a record. This is our first and only match of the night.
I knew it.
Grace
I
Potter,
had one in my pocket in case this came up.
I love this for all the same reasons Chance loved it. This was also my gateway into the band. I love them. I've met Grace Potter. She was an absolute sweetheart. I've met Scott Tournay, her guitar player. I don't think this is their best record. I think their best record is from the 2008, 2009 when their second album came out. But I like this a lot. And their album that came after this was also really good. They're a sort of a 70s flavored blues rock band from Vermont. Unfortunately, and I could do a whole video on what I think about this, but I think Grace got a bit of an ego and she blew up this band and went solo, and her solo stuff pales in comparison to what she did with the Nocturnals. But this is an absolutely fantastic record.
And the band was on like all cylinders. Like you had, she was just a great front woman. Matt on drums was great, and even I don't know the young lady's name, but even have another woman in the band on
Catherine Popper.
Yeah, I mean, just
she was their second bass player. She quit after this album and was replaced by Michael Libramento, who was also amazing. She quit. Catherine Popper quit to go play bass for I want to say Jack White, I think. But
is this when he had that album that the touring band was all women? The backing band? Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Lazaretto.
So,
Lazaretto. Yep.
My number 1 I've shown before, and no one knows who this guy is, but I feel like I need to champion how awesome he is. Adam Baldwin, singer-songwriter from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I've called him the Canadian Bruce Springsteen because that's what he sounded like. He has some great rock albums. I showed Matt May's record before, Coyote. Adam is his guitar player, does his solo stuff on the side. This is not a rock record like his other 3 albums. This is a folk record. He was trying to be Stan Rogers, for those folks who know who Stan Rogers is. This is I did a whole video on this album. It is, it's about, he's an incredible storyteller, and he in this album, he writes songs that are stories much like Gordon Lightfoot did, sort of in the vein of like Canadian Railroad Trilogy or Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, that kind of thing. It's absolutely incredible. It's all about there's some fictitious tales about the gritty side of life growing up on the East Coast, which is a tough life. So this is an absolutely incredible album. This is a signed copy. Obviously, it doesn't come like that. But Adam Baldwin, it's called Concertos and Serenades, is my favorite record of since 2010.
Cool.
All right.
Got a couple comments here, and where are we here? All right, so Randall, number 3, The Weatherman, Gregory Allen Isaacov, number 2, Wrecking Ball by Springsteen, and number 1, Bronco by Orville Peck.
Randy, Orville Peck just announced a new tour, so you might want to check it out.
And it's Brian.
Hi,
It's Chance. It's Sam and Rob. I like how Louis saved the best for last. That's good.
Yeah.
The top 5 rappers of all time are Dylan, and Dylan.
That's probably true.
John's
Wow.
number 1, Springsteen.
Good showing for Western Stars.
I know Brandon would be very high on that because he talks a lot about
Yes,
it.
he does. He likes it a lot.
Louis, you just missed his Mount Rushmore of rappers. Best fountains of Wayne's song is Radiation Vibe, Not Stacy's Mom, Fight Me.
That's a good song, but it's not my favorite.
I like that he wrote That Thing You Do, the title track.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Incredible Tom Hanks movie. Cool. Thanks for that, Sam. The Monkey CD would be great to get my older sister.
It's fantastic.
She might also like Taylor Swift. Just saying. I hear kids like that, according to Brian. So
It's
I'm
true.
on my way to steal that Jaguar. There was preparation for this. Yes, there always is, because our usual ringleader, Glen Calloway.
Oh, don't worry. I filled him in real quick. I filled him in like a sand balloon.
Glenn and I make sure Glenn makes sure that Sam and I are prepared. So
Even though I show up late.
yeah. Well, you got Jeopardy, man. It's priorities, right?
Yeah. Jeopardy, I got to prepare the coffee.
Actually,
right.
on this comment, Emily
Arnie
Haynes and
says,
Metric. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, he's frozen. I
See,
was
this-
just saying that
See,
those run
boys
my
and
volume.
girls, this is what happens when you listen to
Totally.
too much Taylor Swift and adulthood. There he is. You're back. Back from the upside down, Rob.
There you go.
Listen, man, I heard that.
Hey, it's not me.
Here.
It's your system, man. Your computer is just, it can't handle this. It can't.
Goddamn internet.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah. You're
There
good.
you go.
Yeah, you're
Hello?
You're with
Yep.
us.
Hello?
You're with us. Adjust the rabbit ears, Rob.
Lost him again.
I'm gonna vogue a little bit. Maybe it'll
All right.
bring
Well, my controls are lagging, so we'll. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah.
We got you.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up because my internet's crapping out here. So, do you guys want to just talk about what you got going on your channel this week? Brian, you want to go first?
Well, I'm in the exact middle of an 8-part Smiths series. So if you want to know how I've ranked every Smith song from 73 to 1, come to my channel.
Arnaldo over at Fidelius Frequency would love that. He's a monster Smiths fan.
All right.
What about you, Chance? What do you got coming up this week?
This week, well, Record Store Days this weekend. So I mean, I'm doing a lot of sprints. I'm doing a lot of finger push-ups, kind of like Rocky Balboa, because I know the Swifties are going to come out in full force. I'm really wrestling with.
I might need your help, I might need your help.
Well, I'll see what I can do. That may be a second store situation because I'm honestly, for the first time in my Record Store Day career, I'm contemplating going like wicked early. And you're gonna laugh at the title, but it's that Macho Man Randy Savage rap album that they only made 1,000 of, and there's 1,500 at least independent record stores, so they don't even have enough for one per store. And Amoeba and old In-Groove Mike and Platinum, they're gonna get more than one copy. So I literally may go out like wicked early to see if I could cop that one. The other titles I think I'll be good, but then in terms of programming, I had a great conversation with Mazzy that I'll be putting on my YouTube channel first this week. Usually I do the podcast first and then the YouTube. So look for that on Sunday, and then the interview, the audio only will be on the podcast on Monday. But yeah. Since Rob is frozen, Sam, what do you got going on this week?
Yeah, I just put out a review on the recent Wood Brothers album put up today. It's got a whopping 14 or so views. It's been up for like 6 hours, which is exactly how I knew it was going to go, but I don't care because I'm always going to promote the Wood Brothers. Just did a reissue video about the new Michael Nesmith reissue that came out through 7A Records. His album, Pretty Much Your Standard Rent Stash. Really, really great pressing from 7A Records. I'm hoping to review at some point this week the new Zombies album that came out about 2 weeks ago now. I need to listen to it once more. It's been about a week since I listened to it, so I need to give it one more spin before I give it an educated review. And then I'm also always on Rich Strickler's channel. For those of you that don't know, follow Rich Strickler. I'm in his Authentic Rock and Roll Hall of Fame panel where we rank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by year in accordance with their eligibility, but we do it in our, based on an actual rock and roll standpoint. So it's myself, Glen, Rich, Randy Nelson in the comments, Brian Massey from Massey's Man Entertainment, and then Doc, who doesn't have a channel. So that's on Rich's channel every week. We don't have one this week for some scheduling conflicts, Glenn, but we will be back up next week. So check that out. So that's what's happening in my world.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good, dude. You're back in time.
Yeah, geez, I don't know. Internet's flaky today. I can't help it. What's going on for me? I am going to have my U2 Songs of Surrender up this week. I think I might do a vinyl finds video because I haven't done one forever. And I'm for those that saw several months ago, I mentioned that I did an interview with my buddy from Blue Rodeo and Wilco. He's asked to come back and do yet another video. So he and I are going to hopefully maybe in the next week or so, we're going to be filming a video where he and I talk about a slightly different record topic than we did on the previous one. So, and I got to think about possibly another idea for the Violent Community podcast. So that's it. So
this was fun, guys.
This was great. Thank you, Chance, and thank you, Brian, for joining Sam and I this week. Hopefully we did Glenn proud this week. Hopefully. And
thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice officially meeting you, Chance.
Thank you to everybody.
That's it. Rob, come back to us, please. Please, we want to hear one more Taylor Swift anecdote, please. Please. Rob, sweet Rob.
He's gone.
No.
Rob, where are you? One more night. Just one more night.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Here. I'm here.
I can't say I've ever been on one of these where the host was freezing up.
Yeah.
I can hear him calling to me. It's like Poltergeist, Carrie Ann, go to the light. Go to the light, Carrie Ann. All right. I hate to wrap it up when I'm not the host, but we might want to wrap it up because
this makes it now. Can you hear me now? Hello?
We can hear you, but you're not moving.
Hello?
But
all right. Well, I'm going to sign off, everybody.
Okay. All right. Good.
Bye, guys.
See you guys later. Good hang. Later.
Bye. All right, everybody. Good night.
See you later.